Welcome to another UCL Fantasy deadline stream, this time ahead of Matchday 3. Thank you to everyone who's been waiting very patiently. And the Manchester City lineup today is going to actually, I'd say, determine my final wildcard team. I have pressed the button. This is how my team currently looks, but there will be a few changes, I think, and I'll be confirming those probably after the deadline. Thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in. I'll try to answer all your questions and comments, and then once the lineup is out, then I can start making the changes to my team. But at the moment, I have two City players, Phil Foden and Aymeric Laporte. So let's see if they start, and if they do, maybe they're going to stay in this team. But otherwise, there still could be a few changes elsewhere, and I will be discussing them later on. Thank you very much to everyone. I'm going to be getting up the chat right now, and then I'll be going through your questions. So thank you very much to Chu, always being here. Smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much. I'll be doing that very shortly as well, in terms of the shower anyway, not smashing it myself. Welcome to Midgal. Really appreciate you joining in, Addy. Hey Dylan, best 7 to 9 million midfielders on a wild card. I would say Sane is definitely one of the standouts. There's also Chiesa, who I really like, and I actually had him in one of my wildcard drafts from yesterday. I think I played the chip yesterday. And other than that, 7 to 9 million, I would say normally Goretzka, but it looks like, according to what I've seen on Twitter, it looks like him and Alphonso Davies are going to be out of the Benfica game. And it looks like, despite all the controversy, Lucas Hernandez is going to be starting, which is very strange, to be honest. But yeah, I'd be looking at those two options in particular, around 9 million. There's also Phil Foden, who I currently have, Bellingham, Nkunku. I would definitely recommend all of those options. They're all in my team right now. Should I really use my wildcard now? It depends on your team and your situation. If you have a good team and you're happy with it, you don't need to be honest. I don't know, still debating. You do get unlimited transfers in group stages, so why not, says Akib. Yep, that's true. And that's why you have that luxury of being able to play it now rather than in the knockout stages. But one thing, one real big advantage of saving it for the knockout stages is just being able to kind of take more punts, go for players who are probably going to lose the game and be knocked out, but you can get those punts, they can get the points, and then out of your team. A bit like Chiesa last season for Juventus. Welcome, Nick. Yeah, it is UCL time, and it's just very strange, to be honest. But yeah, here we are, and in a few weeks' time, we're back with Matchday 4. If I have both Limitless and Wildcard, what would you recommend to activate first? It ultimately depends on the state of your team. If you don't really have a good squad for the rest of the group stages, I would Wildcard now and Limitless in Matchday 5. But if you actually like the way your team is right now, or at least for the rest of the group stages, you can always just Limitless either now, Matchday 4 or 5, and save your wildcard for the knockout stages. I talk about this in my chip strategy video. If you want, check that out. It's still relevant now, and I think that's the best way to go about it, to be honest. Hi Dylan, rate this UCL Fantasy wildcard team: Mendy, Pedro Porro, Meunier, Reece James, Roussillon, Sane, Danjuma, Villarreal, Salah, Benzema, Lewandowski, Haaland. I really like that front three. It's exceptional. Salah, of course, tough fixtures, but I like him, of course. Danjuma is an interesting one. He's in my team right now. He's on the bench, and yeah, he's such a good player at the moment. And after doing further research on Villarreal and Danjuma, he's been exceptional. I even packed him on FIFA, so that's probably a sign I should get him in my team. So yeah, he's a really good one. And also Borro, it looks like he could be taking penalties, but I'm not too sure. It was with the absence of their key penalty taker, so that's something to bear in mind, but still, he could be pretty decent. I like the team overall. Reece James should start. I think he did the press conference yesterday with Thomas Tuchel, so that's a big indication that he will. Roussillon, I mean, Wolfsburg have been struggling since the last time, you'd say, since Matchday 2. So I'm not too confident about them as I was before. But Roussillon is a budget option, so that's still decent. Welcome, Yannick. No Salah, not at the moment. He might come into my team. And let me actually just show you a kind of alternative. So I could get Salah, Alvarez, and maybe Alexandro or someone else. Maybe I could stick with Laporte, but I could do something like this as well. But Salah is facing Atletico Madrid back-to-back, so I don't think you have to have him. And I still think he's going to return within the next 2 games. But is he going to do that well in Matchday 3 to justify his hefty price tag? I'm not too sure, but he could still find a way into my team. And to be honest, he's looking like a really good player in every single game. So obviously, I'd love to have him, but the fixtures are tough. No Lukaku, well, it looks like he could be rested either in Matchday 3 of UCL Fantasy or Game Week 9 of FPL. Thomas Tuchel actually spoke about him playing too many games. So that's something to bear in mind, to be honest. subscribe, everybody. 7k subs soon. Thank you very much. Hey, it's me, Rush. Really appreciate it. And let's do a little shout out, as you say. So thank you very much. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. I haven't even seen how many people are watching right now. I have no way of telling, but thank you very much. Obviously, there's a lot of comments coming in. And yeah, just keep smashing the like button. We've made a lot of progress in the last few months, really, and also weeks. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well if you want. I'm active on those platforms. I post my teams there. I talk about football. I talk about the best options on UCL Fantasy and FPL. And yeah, we're almost there at 7,000. Not quite just yet, but obviously I'd really appreciate it if you do subscribe. And of course, if you do that and you put your questions forward in the live chat, you will have them answered. So really appreciate everyone who has been coming in. And let's go back to my team and back to your questions. So thank you very much. And let's keep this going. Did you use the wildcard? Yes, I have. That's in the title. I do put that I activated it. And I think I did yesterday. If not, it was... I'm losing count of the days. If not on Sunday. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I activated it yesterday. Mason Mount. Yeah, he's a decent option. But the problem is Chelsea have been going to a 3-5-2. And that means Werner and Lukaku are playing up front. So there's not really a place for Mount in the team. Is Roger a good option? In terms of ball recoveries, yes. But I would prefer Fabinho or others, like even Barrios or Alvarez, who probably offer better value for money. And Rodri's a good option, but I probably wouldn't go for him. Chiesa or Sane on a wildcard, I think both of them are great, but I'd go for Sane. Replacement for Edison if he doesn't start today, as he's doubtful. I'm on Limitless, by the way, says Mohammed Faiz. Yeah, so it's very important to go for someone obviously playing on a different day to your second goalkeeper. And I imagine you have Mendy against Malmo. So on the Tuesday... who would I go for? Maybe Handanovic against Sheriff. I know Sheriff have kind of bitten us this year. They've been very impressive. But I'd probably go for him. Maybe you could go for Donnarumma, but that's a bit kind of risky. Leipzig are a decent offensive team. But yeah, I'd probably go for him. Or if not, go for the other Man City goalkeeper, whoever comes in for him, like Stefan. And the reason why Edison's doubtful is because he returned late from Brazil. He doesn't have an injury or COVID or anything like that. It's because he returned late from the Brazilian international games in the qualifiers. So that's at least from the information I have. Maybe if something else has happened recently, then you can correct me on that. Lukaku's a rotation risk this week. Exactly. Thomas Tuchel was talking about he had too many games recently and he needs a break. So I think it's either going to happen today or it's going to happen on the weekend against Norwich City. Why Benzema? Because he's really cheap, and to be honest, he just offers great value. At the moment, he's the most informed player in the world other than Salah, and he's still doing well in the Champions League. Obviously, I'd love to have Haaland as well, but I may go without him because he does face Ajax, while Benzema and Real Madrid face Shakhtar Donetsk, who are pretty poor this season anyway so far. So that's why I'm going for Karim Benzema. Benzema or Haaland, I think in terms of value for money and looking at the next two, I'd go for Benzema, but you know, ideally I would want Haaland if I'm being honest, but I just don't have enough money from the rest of the team that I also want. Lukaku is good. He is a good player. If he starts, he's probably, one of my favourite captaincy options, but just bear in mind there's a rotation risk. Thoughts on triple Chelsea defence? I'd probably go for two. Obviously I can see the appeal, but I think going with double City defence and double Chelsea, I'd rather that than having triple of one team, despite how good they are. What about Alexander-Arnold? Really good option, but really tough fixtures, and I don't know, I just think that there are other players who can maybe offer you more ball recovery points, more clean sheets. Obviously, he has the attacking potential, but still, it's a bit limited because of the tough opposition. Davis, it looks like he could be out. According to the rumours, him and Goretzka are going to be missing the Benfica game. That's what I've seen. Nuno Mendes, that's an interesting option, around 4.5 million. He could be the much cheaper alternative to Hakimi. Davis Smart, yeah, once again, Herman, it looks like Davis could be out if you're talking about Alphonso Davis. Obviously, search up as well, but from what I saw on Twitter, it looks like he's going to be missing the Benfica game. Why not downgrade midfield for Haaland? Because, well, I can see what you mean in terms of downgrading Nkunku. He's probably going to be making way, if I'm being completely honest. What I am thinking of doing, just to kind of give you an insight into my transfer plans, is downgrading Nkunku to Alvarez or Barrios or another bench fodder who gets ball recovery points. Maybe upgrading one of my defenders to a Cancelo and double up on City defence, and then getting Mendy in goal. So that's what I'm thinking of at the moment. And then yes, I could maybe alternatively upgrade Benzema to Haaland, but I think over the next two, Benzema has the better fixtures and he should outscore him. But of course, there's no right or wrong answer. I think they're both great options. What's the best defense? I think the best defense would include at least 1 or 2 Chelsea defenders. It could also include a goalkeeper, by the way, and I'd say 1 City defender. So look at the lineup today when it's released around half an hour and get a City defender in there. And then the rest of it, I'd go for someone like Thomas Meunier, who gets ball recoveries, maybe Alexandro. And if you want budget defenders, you could go for Borro. You can maybe even target a Villarreal defender because of that fixture against Young Boys, which is repeated in Matchday 4. So I'd be looking at those, but ultimately you want Chelsea and City defenders in your wildcard if you can. But there's no right or wrong. I'd also go for a Sula or an Upamecano because of the ball recovery points, and Bayern have been better defensively, I'd say, this season so far. But then again, the fixtures have been easier. You think Benzema instead of Haaland? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there, to be honest. I think they're both great options, but maybe for Matchday 3 specifically and Matchday 4, maybe Benzema's going to outscore him, at least just looking at the fixture, but Haaland is fixture proof. Best front three this game week, I'm on Limitless. Definitely Lewandowski, there's no doubt about it. If you back Lukaku to start, you could go for him, and then it's between Haaland and Benzema. So 3 of those 4, take your pick, but Lewandowski is the must-have, in my opinion. Let's see. You play Limitless last match and Wildcard this match. Yeah, it's something I've done in years gone by and it's served me well. But yeah, obviously you have to make sure you get this wildcard right so you can finish the group stages pretty strongly. Remember, you have unlimited transfers heading into Matchday 7, i.e. the knockout rounds, the round of 16. Let's see. So Lewandowski or Haaland? For me, Lewandowski. I'd go for him. You use wildcard? Yes, I have. Nuno Mendes, Limitless. I use my Limitless in Matchday 2. If you want to see what I think is the best Limitless team for Matchday 3, check out my Limitless team video that I uploaded, I think, 2 days ago. If not, it was yesterday, actually. Are you doing a wildcard? This is my wildcard, Mickey. What you see on screen is my wildcard team. Thoughts on Barrios from Zenit? Yeah, exactly. I talked about him in my wildcard team. I think he's one of the best options around 5 million. There is Curtis Jones. There's also obviously Alvarez. But if you can, I think Barrios is just that kind of set and forget 4 or 5 pointer if you ever need him. No Salah. He could be coming into my team. I have to stress this once again. It's not like I'm definitely going without him, but I am considering going without him and maybe upgrading my defense. But of course, going without Salah, even if he's facing Atletico Madrid away, is a bit of a pain. What about Besiktas goalkeeper, 4 million? If I do end up getting Mendy in goal, Destonoglu will be my second goalkeeper, so that's a good point. Kante, not for me, and also he's just been in and out of the team. He's been getting so many injuries, but of course, when he is fit, he's a great option. Force on Lewandowski, Haaland, Haller. I think that's a really strong front three, of course. You can't have everyone you want. You can't get Benzema and Lukaku unless you seriously downgrade the rest of your attack, or should I say your midfield and squad. But Haller's a good choice still. I think he can actually do well against a leaky Dortmund defence. The reason why I have Thomas Meunier is because of the ball recoveries and attacking potential. Mbappe or Adeyemi, I'd probably go for Adeyemi. He's in my team at the moment. And by the way, there was kind of an injury concern surrounding the German, but he is fit. Reports today have said that he's in training and he's ready for the game. Grealish or Sane, I'd definitely go for Sane. CR7, I got rid of him on a wild card. He's still a good choice, but I don't trust Manchester United. Benzema or Lukaku, I'd go for Benzema, but once again with Lukaku, if he starts, I think he could do really well. Best 5.5 million goalkeeper, I'd say Handanovic. Sane plus Mount or Salah plus Danjuma? Really good question. I go for Salah and Danjuma. 5 to 6 million midfielders for the bench that play tomorrow. Good question. I think Danjuma is definitely the standout. And if I remember correctly, let me check the fixtures actually, but I'm not sure. Barrios is another one. 5 million. You know, not going to be anything fancy, but he plays tomorrow and he can do the good. So I'd go for Danjuma from Villarreal. In the game, by the way, just to avoid confusion, this is the guy we're on about. But his, actual surname, at least on FIFA, is Danjuma. So I'd go for him or Barrios, who play tomorrow. So I think those would be really good choices, to be honest. So yeah, that's what I'd probably go for. Let's see. Let's bring the chat back up. Let's get through your questions as well. Jesus, so many questions coming. I really appreciate it, guys. And yeah, I'm going to check now, see how many viewers we're on. But I imagine it's quite a bit, obviously. So obviously, really appreciate it. So let's see. Damn, yeah, 250 people watching. Really appreciate it, guys. Is Rashford a good pick? Obviously, he scored a really good goal against Leicester. I probably wouldn't go for him, though. Should I use Limitless or Wildcard this week? Once again, I answered this question to someone earlier. It depends on, your squad. If you like your overall squad for the rest of the group stages, then just Limitless, either in Matchday 3, 4 or 5, and save your Wildcard for the knockout stages. And if you want, you can check out my chip strategy video where I break it down and I talk about the 2 best chip strategies you can go for. Yes, I use my Wildcard, Kevin. Doesn't double Dortmund defense worry you? I'm probably going to be going off it if I'm being completely honest. It's just what I have at the moment. I'm probably going to be getting in, let's say, a Chelsea goalkeeper, for example, like Mendy. So I'm not too worried because I probably won't go for it in the end. Mendy or Edison? I'd go for Mendy, but obviously Edison is still really good. Gnabry or Sane? I like both of them, but I go for Sane. This season he's been better. Heard that Lukaku might be rested by Tuchel. Is it true? Exactly, Ziharin. Either in this game week or in Matchday 3 of UCL Fantasy or in FPL game week 9 at the weekend against Norwich City. Do you recommend Szczesny? I do. He was in my best wildcard team and I think he's a good choice. Salah or Sane? I'd probably go for Sane over the next two at least, but of course Salah is at the moment the best player in the world, or one of the best. Team City, please. We don't have the lineup yet, I believe. The game is at 5:45. I think the lineup comes around in around 15 minutes. No problem, mate. Let me just try to get the name up. Sorry, the chat is scrolling really quickly. Isaiah, thank you very much. Edison is injured, right? I'd have to check that, but yeah, I don't think he is. Is he a doubt on this, on UCL Fantasy? Obviously, that's a big shame because, you know, on a Limitless, I think him and Mendy, it's like literally having the two best goalkeepers, or at least in terms of, you know, the best defences. Let me actually search this Edison news because I'm probably a bit behind on that. You should have Mendy for the goalkeeper. Yeah, I probably will be getting him, and Destanoglu as a 4 million. Welcome, Aaron. Who should I captain? Benzema, Mo Salah or Haaland? I'd probably go for Benzema out of those three, but the other two are good. Sell Jota and buy Firmino. I probably wouldn't do that. I'd rather just have Salah if you want a Liverpool cover and attack. Do you think Mbappe could be good? I think so against Leipzig. I haven't talked about him much, but him and Messi, especially with Neymar out, I think he could be really good. Let me get this Edison news up, by the way. Let's see if he is actually injured. That'd be a big shame for City. Let's see. Yeah, no Edison. Yeah, I'm seeing quite a bit of... Yeah, well, to be fair, a lot of City fans still expect Edison to start tonight. That's the thing, so I'm not too sure. Either way, don't worry too much about Edison and City players because we get the lineup very soon. That's the kind of advantage, I'd say, of this game week. Any Chelsea midfielder for those two juicy games? I mean, I'd be tempted by Havertz or Mount, but honestly, just not too impressed by them. Foden or Grealish? I'd go for Foden, but of course, let's wait and see the lineups. Can you please explain the strategy of using the Limitless in Game Week 2 and then wildcarding in Game Week 3? Well, ultimately, I looked at the fixtures in Matchday 2 and 5, and I think they're the best. And 3 and 4 are still good in terms of having the most premium players who can really do well. I got 106 points or something like that in Matchday 2, so I benefited from it. And my normal team is basically what I had in Matchday 1. So my team isn't in good shape because I did really poorly in Matchday 1 as well. And I wanted to make a lot of changes. So I want a team from now up until the rest of the group stages that can do really well. And another thing to consider is that if you wildcard now, whatever fixture you have for all of your players, they're going to have the same one in Matchday 4. So they literally, let's say for example Chelsea, you triple up on them and they all face Malmo yet again in Matchday 4. So that's a big advantage. And they also are looking pretty good for Matchdays 5 and 6. And then you have unlimited transfers heading into the knockout stages, Matchday 7. So you can use this opportunity to make unlimited changes to your team, and you can also play your Limitless in Matchday 2 or 5. It's ultimately up to you, but that's just the way I went about it, and I think it's one of the best ways to play it. Christensen, he's a good choice. Stefan, I have Halle. Do I switch to Benzema? It's a bit of a luxury transfer to make, but I think if you can afford it and you don't have any other transfers to make, I probably would go ahead with that. Hey Dylan, how are you, lad? Just joined your stream. Thank you very much, Sudindra. Good luck with you as well. What team do you support? I support Arsenal, and the less said about them, the better. They were awful yesterday. Do you think KDB is a good option? For sure. He's one of the best in Champions League over the last year. What about a Chelsea defender, Chalobah? Is he going to start? He could start this game week in Matchday 3, but I just would have concerns about him starting later on. Sandro or Meunier? Oof, that's a good question. That's really tight, to be honest. I think Meunier just offers better value and more ball recovery. So even if Dortmund concede, I think he'll get you points. I'm not sure about Sandro, but they're both good. Can you change captain? Yes, you can between each day. So let me just make this very clear. And if you want, check out my tutorials where I break down everything UCL Fantasy related. On the Tuesday, you have all these fixtures. You can captain, for example, a City player like De Bruyne. You could captain, let's say, Benzema against Shakhtar, Messi against Leipzig, Salah against Atletico, Dortmund. You can go for Haaland. You get the idea. If they blank or don't do too well, what you could do is change the captaincy to someone who hasn't played yet, and that plays on Wednesday. So it's basically one captain per day, but remember, if you do change the captaincy, you can't go back to it if your second captain also doesn't do the business. So hopefully that clears it up, but that's the way the game goes, to be honest. So yeah, let me show you this, my current transfer plans at the moment. By the way, if the City lineup does come out, let me know, and I'll be reading it out to the live chat. Mason Mount, yes, he's a good option, but I probably wouldn't go for him, and he's also not completely nailed. Someone says, come on, you Spurs. Come on, mate. I actually had a dream that we beat Spurs 6-1. I don't know why I had that dream, to be honest. Should I use my Limitless? It depends, ultimately. I mean, it's a really tough question to ask or to answer because I don't know your team, but if you're happy with your actual overall squad for the rest of the group stages as a whole, then you can just Limitless now. I don't think it's a bad idea. Mate, your team looks nice. Thank you, Luca. But I probably will be making some changes just to be completely transparent with you. And I'll probably be, changing a few things, maybe getting Mendy in goal, for example. Can you make subs when matches are going on? Not when they're going on, but just once again, let's go back to the fixtures. So here you go. So we've got the transfer deadline here, and then there's this substitution window. So after the final ball has been kicked of day 1 of match day 3, the same goes for any match day, by the way, up until the next set of games tomorrow, you can actually make substitutions, and you can also change your captain. So what you want to do is have players on your bench who play on the 20th of October. And, by doing so, you can then bring them on for players who have blanked on the 19th of October, and it just gives you more control over your team and more opportunities to maximize your points. So hopefully that's been clear. Once again, if you have any doubts, then go to my video. I think the best one to answer your question would be the kind of how to play UCL fantasy guide that I made, I think, a month or two ago. I think that will help quite a bit. So let me get back my team, my transfer plans at the moment, but of course it could actually change even further. Let's see. Let me get the chat, mate. Come on. All right. Should I go for Bruno Fernandes? I think he's a good choice still, and if he's still on penalties, even more so. But personally, I would rather have De Bruyne or Salah, just the kind of personal opinion. Sane or Foden? I'd rather go for Sane. Why are you going without Haaland? Because you just can't have everyone, and in terms of the ultimate squad I want to achieve, unfortunately it means getting Benzema instead, but I still might go for him. What about Roussillon and Fernando, Sheriff in defence, plus one of Aspi, Sandro to start or on the bench? Yeah, remember, once again, in terms of the bench, just bench players who play tomorrow. Don't bench anyone who plays today. And yeah, I think those are decent options. I'm not too sure about Fernando. Obviously, Cristiano has been the kind of main Sheriff defender getting the assists. I'm not too sure if Sheriff can maintain this, but I could be wrong. Brahim Diaz instead of Danjuma. Remember, Brahim Diaz tested positive for COVID. I didn't mention it in this video so far, but I mentioned it now. So he's out. So go for Danjuma instead. Limitless team options. If you want, check out my Matchday 3 best Limitless team. I literally show you the best team. I wouldn't change anything from that. Arguably maybe Lukaku in there. But remember, there's a doubt about him starting today. Do you think Ronaldo's a good option? I think he is, but I think there are better ones. That's the way I see it. Kimmich or Sula? If you can afford it, I would rather have Kimmich, but Sula can match him in terms of ball recoveries. Well, I think he's just way better at ball recoveries. Kimmich just offers you that attacking potential. I'm starting now. Who should I put in? Okay, that's a good question. I would go for maybe Mendy in goal. You could go for a Besiktas goalkeeper called Destanoglu. And once again, if you're unsure, you can just check my best wildcard team out. I answer everything there, and that's a really good starting team for you. Up front, I'd go for either Benzema or Haaland. I'd definitely go for Lewandowski, and I'd also go for Adeyemi as your kind of budget striker. Of course, if you have a bit more to spend, you could go for Depay. So that's what I would go for up front. The goalkeepers are sorted. The midfield, I'd go for Salah maybe, but if not, you can go for Kevin De Bruyne or maybe just Phil Foden. Let's see the City lineup very soon. I'd also go for Leroy Sane or Chiesa. I think they're good choices. Nkunku, who's been in absolutely electric form this season, or Bellingham, Alvarez or Barrios, and also Danjuma, aka, well, let's call him Arnaut. I probably butchered that pronunciation as well. Groneveld. Yeah, that's not too bad. I would definitely recommend him. In terms of the defence, go for Chelsea defenders. Azpilicueta, Christensen, Rudiger's back fit, I think. Reece James should start. If you want to risk it, go for one of their left backs. So maybe 2 Chelsea defenders, arguably. Thomas Meunier, Mazauri from Ajax, 4.5 million. Nicolas Sula, Upamecano, Alexandro. Unfortunately, De Ligt is injured, it looks like, so I wouldn't recommend him now. And And as a budget defender, you could go for Roussillon or Zappacosta, who's 4 million and starting every game, but I'm not too sure about him. But that's kind of, I'd say, a good overall summary of some of the main players you should be targeting. And once again, obviously I've gone very quick over, those options. You can always just check out the video where you have plenty more time. Yeah, Mazzari is a good option, FPL Frenzy. Sane or Gnabry or both. I would rather have Sane, but I like Gnabry too. Aspie, Laporte, Sandro, Sula, Kimmich. My defence, that's a really solid defence, mate. Very solid. Will Reece James start? I believe so, based on the fact that I think he did the press conference with Thomas Tuchel. Whenever a player does that, they start. Thoughts on Bergwijn? Really good one, Kobe. Really good suggestion. I've never mentioned him, but actually I think at some stage he literally scored and assisted in every single game. A few players, or should I say a few managers who have been watching Ajax consistently highlighted this to me. Bergwijn is looking really promising. Are you wildcarding? This is my wildcard teammate, as it says in the title. Thoughts on triple Chelsea defence? I like it, but I'd rather go for double and spread the risk a little bit more. Depay or Benzema? I'd go for Benzema, Jindal. Best Gossen's replacements, says Sakdev. I would probably be looking at a Laporte. Maybe you could go for Sula, Upamecano. So the same options we've been discussing. Alexandro, I'd be looking at those. Welcome the Flying Dutchman. Really appreciate you joining in. What about Haller? Good choice still, once again. Will Chilwell start? That's a kind of tougher question. It might be Alonso against Malmo and then Chilwell against Norwich, so I'm not too sure about that. Bellingham and then Nkunku, good, or should I bring Sane in? I like both of them. It depends, if you got Sane in, did you have to, downgrade the other one to someone you don't like? But I would rather have Sane out of those three, but the other two are still good. What about Haller? Good option. Captain Lewandowski or Benzema? Remember, you can captain players on different days. Benzema today, Captain Lewandowski tomorrow. Your answers, your questions answered. Aspie or Alonso? I just go for Azpilicueta. Can you show a team without Salah? Yeah, you can see my current team, mate. That is my current team. No Salah is in there. And of course, once the City lineup is officially out, I will be making some changes accordingly. Thoughts on Taremi? He's actually another one who kind of ticks along nicely. Even last season scored a really good goal against Chelsea. He's a good choice. Is it a bad strategy to save the wildcard for the knockout stage? No, it's not a bad strategy. It's just a different one, and it could actually end up being the right course of action for you. Lukaku or Haaland? I'd go for Haaland, but Lukaku, if he starts, I'd expect him to outscore Haaland. The problem is he might not, based on Tuchel's comments. Yeah, no Haaland, yeah. Hey Dylan, will you be playing Adeyemi versus Roussillon? Please answer. Well, potentially. It's not something I'm really too fond of, but either way, Roussillon's just a budget option, and at least I cover, hopefully, some sort of points there. City lineup is out. Thank you very much. I will be checking it right now, so no point speculating and seeing, who's going to start? Is it going to be Grealish? Is it going to be Mahrez, Foden? I don't know. Well, we're going to get it up right now. Let's see this lineup. So, hopefully this is actually... do I trust live score? I don't know. This is a bit risky, to be honest. Yeah, nah, it's just as possible lineup. So let me go on Twitter. That's just the best way to do it. Let's check Manchester City's page. Someone will probably post the lineup on the chat anyway, but obviously I'll be reading out very soon. What do you think about Gay? I think obviously he's been more goal scoring this season. He's got 4 goals so far. He's died down a little bit, but still he can get ball recovery points as well. I think he's one of the better, cheaper options at the moment, to be honest. Yeah, I can't see City's lineup at the moment, to be honest. Not on their page anyway. Just look at the app, it's in there. Yeah, fair enough. Either way, I should get it very soon. Refresh the UEFA page, it shows. Yeah, fair enough. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Are my players starting? That's the question. Yeah, Laporte and Foden are starting. Ooh, that's very interesting. Yeah, so maybe not too many surprises in terms of, the lineup. Let's wait and see what happens there. I'll be reading out the full one very soon. I think City just released it now. No, they haven't. They've just been... they got a live show going on. That's nice. Very nice. All right, let me keep reading out your questions. Let's see. So... Yeah, Foden starts. Yeah, that's really good. Is Haaland fit? He is. He actually scored last weekend, as I talked about in my team selection. Foden, Grealish, yeah, both of them starting. What's your Twitter handle? It's Dylan_RCM. It's the same as my YouTube username. And at the end of the video, I'll be putting it on screen as well. Salah to De Bruyne. I think that could be a really good shout over the next 2. I have 3 free transfers. Any tips? I have Ronaldo, Mbappe, Haaland and Salah, and some cheap midfielders. Ooh, that's a good question. I would maybe be looking to get rid of Ronaldo for Benzema. For example, maybe Mbappe to Lewandowski. I'd probably do that, to be honest. The rest you can keep. Why only one Chelsea player? I'm probably going to be getting in Edouard Mendy in goal. So no worries about that. And remember, Lukaku could be benched. Salah or Haaland? I would probably say Haaland, but Salah's also really good. Captain Haaland or Mbappe? I'd probably say Haaland, but Mbappe's looking really promising this week. What happened to De Ligt? It looks like he's injured. He wasn't in the squad last weekend. Hey Dylan, will we be playing Adeyemi? Yeah, I already answered this question, Roger. And, at the moment, as things stand, I will probably be playing both of them. It depends on how my actual starting lineup does in the first day. Hi Dylan, any advice for Müller? I'd rather go for Sane, even Gnabry, and of course Lewandowski up front, and the defenders like Joshua Kimmich, Sula, Upamecano. I think Kepa might play tomorrow. That is a possibility, to be honest, but I'm not sure about tomorrow per se. Foden or Grealish? I'd go for Foden. What about Cristiano? He's been getting a lot of attacking returns, but I don't expect Sheriff to continue getting clean sheets or, getting the results. Of course, I could be wrong about that. Why not go for 4-3-3? It doesn't really make a difference, to be honest, because ultimately it just depends on who does well and who I ultimately bring on. So the formation doesn't really matter, in my opinion. Arnaut or Jorginho? I'd go for Arnaut, aka Danjuma. Thank you for the answer, mate. No problem. Sane or Chiesa? I'd go for Sane, but I like Chiesa a lot. Foden starting means he will not start on the weekend, potentially, to be honest. He's such a headache, isn't he? How about Foden and Grealish? Nothing wrong with that, but I'd rather just have Foden. I tagged you on Twitter for the lineup, mate. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Always supporting you. Thank you, Roger. Obviously, the name of the great Roger Federer. If you know about him, you probably do. Oh, yeah, City's lineup is out. So Edison, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo. Yes, Cancelo starts. Oof, that's interesting. I actually might double up with Cancelo in here, I'll be honest. Rodrigo, De Bruyne, Bernardo, Foden, Mahrez, Grealish. That's a really strong lineup. You'd probably suspect Bernardo or Foden playing as the false nine, but it could easily be De Bruyne too. Yeah, that's a really strong lineup, to be honest. The bench looks, I'd say, a little weaker, compared to the normal City standards, but that's an exceptional lineup. So I'm probably going to be making some transfers now, and I am thinking of, playing around a little bit with the Nkunku money, and then upgrading my goalkeepers and also getting Cancelo in. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of at the moment. Messi or Haaland? I'd go for Haaland, but of course Messi, in my opinion, the best player. How do I get in Salah? Palace? I'm not sure about that. How do I get in? Oh, who do you get in for Salah? I would probably be looking at Sane, Chiesa, maybe one of them, or Phil Foden. And if not, if you can upgrade, go for De Bruyne. So go for one of those options. Thoughts on Locatelli? Decent choice, but I probably would rather have Danjuma at 6 million and even, let's say, Barrios at 5, Alvarez at 4.5. And then if you can upgrade a little bit more, Nkunku and Bellingham. Chip strategy? Well, I've already played both of my chips, really. So my wildcard has been activated in Matchday 3 and my Limitless was in Matchday 2. I got a really good score. So far, very happy with it. Why are you not using Salah? Because he does play Atletico Madrid. And also, I think I could actually have an overall better squad with the Salah money. But of course, I'm not really too happy getting rid of him. Dzeko over Adeyemi. He could be good, especially against Sheriff. But I would still rather go for Adeyemi. Force and Liverpool defence. Tough fixtures. That's what really stands out to me. And maybe Trent, maybe Robertson, but Van Dijk, Joe Gomez, all these centre-backs, they're not getting the ball recoveries they were last season because, for example, I don't know if you guys remember, Joe Gomez was getting 8 points or more every single game last season, but so far he hasn't done that. Captain Haaland or Benzema? I'd go for Benzema, but I like Haaland a lot. Can you give some alternatives for some of the players you are not 100% sure of? Okay, that's a good idea. So in terms of, for example, the goalkeepers, I'd say Mendy and Destanoglu. I talked about them already. Instead of Alexandre, you can go for Cancelo, Diaz or Laporte. And then you can also, for example, instead of Salah, you can go for Chiesa. I talked about him. You can also go for Foden. And looking at other options, De Bruyne, that could be a really good one. Instead of Benzema, Lukaku and Haaland, of course. Adeyemi, you could maybe upgrade to a Haller or a Depay. I think they could be really good too. And there's also Batshuayi, who's very cheap this year. I think he's 5.5 if I'm not mistaken. And of course, Chelsea defenders, you can go for Rudiger, who's back fit, Christensen, who's looking pretty good, especially with ball recoveries. So I'd be looking at those sorts of options. Barrios instead of Alvarez, as I discussed before. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at, to be honest. And maybe if you want a cheap 4.5 million defender, you can go for the Sporting Lisbon right back Porro, who is on penalties at the moment. And I think he's got 2 goals or 2 penalties scored recently. So I'd be looking at those sorts of names, to be honest. So let's see. Let's get this back on the road. Apologies if I haven't read out your question. I'll try to get all of them answered. Sane or Gnabry? I'd go for Sane. Salah and Edison or Kevin De Bruyne? Oh, that's tough. I mean, that's really good having Salah and Edison, but Kevin De Bruyne is looking really good. Maybe De Bruyne. Game name, Champions League Fantasy. If you go, for example, if you search on the app, it's called the Gaming Hub by UEFA. Chiesa or Sane, I'd go for Sane, but Chiesa's good. Wildcard or Limitless? I mean, I'm wildcarding, but there's nothing wrong with Limitlessing right now. What do you think about Inter defenders? That's a good point. That's a really good shout. I'm actually thinking of potentially, I was thinking of Handanovic, but there's also, I think his name is DiMarco. He could actually be coming into my side. So let me actually, let me search for him, and I might actually go for him myself, to be honest. Yeah, DiMarco got 6 points in Matchday 2. What I'm a bit concerned about is he only got 2 balls recovered and 81 minutes played. But still, Inter have been good defensively in the Champions League. They were very unlucky to lose in Matchday 1 against Real Madrid in the dying embers of the game. But in Serie A, they are struggling a lot to keep clean sheets. So that's what puts me off Inter Milan a little bit. And also, Sheriff have been very impressive. So DeMarco could be someone to look at. I'd rather go for one of their cheaper assets than, let's say, for example, De Vrij or Skriniar. And Handanovic, good keeper, but you know, for 0.5 million more, you can get Edison or Mendy, who play in much better teams and defenses. So that's what I would probably say, to be honest. Let's get the chat back up. Would you captain Haaland or Salah? Probably Haaland, but I like Salah too. Grealish or Foden? Grealish. Danilo or Walker? I'd go for Walker. Valverde or Danjuma? Danjuma. Suggest a good midfielder within 5 million. Barrios or Alvarez for sure. Do you think Werner is an option? I think he is, but I wouldn't go for him. Who is Danjuma? Which team? He's Villarreal on screen. Look at him now. His name is Groneveld on here, but his actual surname is Danjuma. There's a whole kind of story about it. For example, on FIFA, he is called Danjuma on that as well. But yeah, that's the guy we're on about, and he's got a really good record. I think in 3 starts for Villarreal, he has got 4 goals, so he's looking really impressive. He's done it in the Champions League already against Manchester United, against Atalanta, so he's looking like a really promising player. He used to play for Bournemouth in the Championship last season, and he did really well for them as well. So he's looking pretty decent, to be honest. He's a Flying Dutchman as well. Exactly. Yeah, Danjuma's so good. Yeah, he's looking really good. Suggest a 5 million midfielder. Yeah, once again, I think I answered this, Glenn. 5 million midfielder, Barrios, if not Alvarez. As for a defender, I'd go for Laporte. Won't Lewa be rotated? I don't really see a reason why he would, but you never know. De Ligt doubtful. Why? He wasn't in the squad last weekend. Chiesa or Sane? Sane. And by the way, with De Ligt, I think he's got an injury. Same with Paulo Dybala. Is Haaland a good pick? Yes, he is, but Ajax is going to be a tough game potentially. And Ajax defensively have actually been very impressive. Haaland or Lukaku? I'd still go for Haaland, but Lukaku obviously has the better fixtures. Is Bellingham good? I think so. That's why he's in my team. When is the usual time people play wildcards? Matchday 3. If not, you'd say matchday 8, 9 or 10, basically in the knockout stages after the round of 16. So ultimately you're looking at matchday 9 heading into that. So yeah, once a lot of teams have been eliminated, you have the wild card in play to then change your team entirely. Adeyemi is good, I think so. I've talked about him in my team selection video just to kind of summarize him. He's actually won 4 penalties so far this season. He scored 2 goals and he's looking really impressive. Even got a yellow card and he got 2 Man of the Match awards, so he's looking really impressive. And he could actually be someone to look at, to be honest. So I think Adeyemi is someone that I never thought about heading into matchday 1, but of course on my radar right now. Foden or Nkunku? I'd go for Foden because of the fixtures, but Nkunku has got great form. Replacement goalkeeper for Edison, got Mendy on bench using Limitless. Handanovic I'd go for. Why no Lukaku? Because I talked about this before. Thomas Tuchel said he needs a rest, and that could be this week in the Champions League, if not in FPL against Norwich City. So that's one thing, and also just his form. He's blanked in 6 games in a row, 4 in the Premier League. So I'm just not too sure about him. I would rather have Haaland, who's a better player, better goal scorer. Benzema, same thing. Lewandowski. You know, I can keep going on, but those are 3 prime examples. Messi or De Bruyne captain? I'd probably go for De Bruyne, but Messi, if he's on it, you know, just enjoy the points, really. You going double up on Dortmund defence? Probably not, to be honest. I've already talked about this. I'll probably get some City and Chelsea defenders in here. So I'm actually going to be making some transfers right now, and I'll be showing you my final team very soon. So yeah, I think I'm going to go for something like this. I think João Cancelo could be coming in, Mendy, and therefore a 4 million budget goalkeeper, and also Alvarez. So I think I'm actually going to go for that. And there we go. I'm going to sort out this team. I'll be showing you guys in a second. And yeah, so João Cancelo has to come in. And I'll probably get rid of... Who plays on the 20th? Yeah. Bear with me, guys. I'll be answering your questions very soon. Sane, Adeyemi, Lewandowski, Sane. Yeah, I think I'd be going for this. Yeah, okay. Okie dokie. That is pretty much all done. And yes, in terms of captaincy, I think I'm still going to go for Benzema, but I am tempted by Cancelo, to be honest, and Foden. That could be really good, of course. Remember, you can only triple up right now in this stage of the competition. So I think the perfect City triple up is one attacker and probably, yeah, two defenders. That's what I'd probably say, to be honest. So let me get my team back up. And there we go. Sane or De Bruyne? I'd go for Sane, but De Bruyne's really good. Tadic, yep, he's a good choice, but he is facing Dortmund. But then again, you know, he could do well. Best 5.1 million defenders, Laporte. I'd also say Sula, really good option, and Thomas Meunier. Those are the top three. So take your pick there. Don't know why the chat doesn't stay. Apologies, lads. All right, so is this your final team? It isn't. And I've been completely transparent about that from the beginning. What about Ansu Fati? Yeah, I haven't mentioned him. He's looking really good. He's, I think, involved in 2 goals in the last 3 games since returning from injury. Scored on his first appearance in La Liga the other day. Why not Joshua Kimmich? Because he's very expensive, and I probably would rather have Joao Cancelo. Also, another thing about Joshua Kimmich is that he's not getting the ball recovery points he was last season, and I can cover him with Sula or Upamecano, who are getting a lot of ball recovery points. Good luck for the game week, bro. Thank you very much, Glenn. You too. Consider Chiesa. I have. He's been in my teammate on my wildcard draft. I would love to have him. What are your thoughts on Grunewald? Not seeing him in predicted lineups. I think he will start. You know, he's been in such great form. I know he didn't score in the last game, and I think Villarreal did lose 2-1. And also another player to consider, by the way, is Gerard Moreno, who's come back from injury. And he is the main man for Villarreal. Maybe with his return, Danjuma isn't going to be the main focal point for them up front. So that's kind of a concern, but still. 3 best Chelsea players to have. I think Azpilicueta for sure. Another Chelsea defender, whether it's Reece James. Rudiger, I think, would be my ideal one because of the ball recoveries and how nailed he is. There's also Christensen. So go for Azpilicueta and one of those I mentioned. Probably Rudiger. And then Lukaku up front. But the problem with Lukaku is that he might not start in Matchday 3 because he needs a rest. Thomas Tuchel said it himself. No City players. I'm going to get probably 2 or 3 City players in the end, mate. I'm just showing you some transfer plans. At the moment, I have Foden and Laporte. But yeah, that's how my team is looking like at the moment. Barrios, yeah, really good choice. But in terms of money, I think Alvarez will just save me that 0.5 million that I need. For some Reece James, I like him. He's going to be playing, but I think that Rudiger, Christensen, and Azpilicueta, they're all better options because of ball recoveries. Best goalkeeper for Edison, Handanovic, if you need someone for today and you're playing a Limitless. Destanoglu is starting, yeah, that's good. He's probably going to be coming into my team. If you had Limitless, when would you use it? Which match day? If I had it, I would be using it either in Matchday 5 or maybe in Matchdays 3 and 4 and then save the wildcard for the knockout stages. So basically, any time from now up until Matchday 5. Mahrez or Salah, I'd still go for Salah. Is Mount going to play? I'm not too sure, to be honest, and he's someone who's going to be in and out of the team. But Thomas Tuchel actually spoke about a potential formation change. For some Militao, obviously some good fixtures to round up the group stage, but yeah, he's good with ball recoveries, but I probably would rather have other defenders. Real Madrid haven't been too impressive defensively recently. Haller or Bergwijn, I probably would prefer Haller, but Bergwijn has been very impressive. Wolfsburg players, a good option, probably just Roussillon because his budget. Wolfsburg have actually been very, very, poor recently. They've been struggling. Apparently, Adeyemi's not playing. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, Rodolfo, but in the, let's say, I think the reports from today and yesterday, they said he's been in training and he's going to play. And he's in the predicted lineups and everything. But of course, if you have a source, let me know. Ronaldo, good choice, but I think Benzema, Lewandowski, Haaland are all better. Even Lukaku if he starts. Is Christensen going to play? I think so, but he might not. He might be rested for the weekend. Pedro Gonçalves as a differential. Yeah, he's looking really good. I think he's got 23 goal contributions in his last 32 appearances. But I'm not going to be going for him myself, but still. Looks like Villarreal wasn't scoring much. Szczesny versus Handanovic. Really tough question. I think for this game week specifically, so because he's at home, I'd go for Handanovic, but Sheriff have been very impressive. Suggestions for defenders, I've talked about this before. Cancelo, Diaz, Laporte, Alexandro. Upamecano, Joshua Kimmich, Sula, Aspilicueta, any other Chelsea defender like Rudiger, Reece James, Thomas Meunier, Mazzauri, and even Porro from Sporting Lisbon. So I'd be looking at those sorts of options, even Eder Militao if you want. So yeah, I think they're all good choices. Morning, will Alonso and James play? I think James will because he was in the press conference with Thomas Tuchel. I'm not too sure about Alonso, to be honest, but he could be. What about Dumfries? He's a good choice, but I probably would rather have DiMarco because he's slightly cheaper. And Dumfries isn't like he was in Euro 2020 Fantasy Football, where he was very explosive and he doesn't get too many ball recovery points. Mbappe, captain today, is a good option. Yes, he is. 5 million defender, Alonso or Silva? I probably would just go for Laporte, to be honest, and I'm not sure if Alonso will start. You just want to get someone who's going to get ball recovery points. Remember, it's different to FPL. You can get centre-backs like Rudiger, who probably will outscore Reece James and Alonso. Why not Haaland? Well, because you can't have everyone, to be honest. That's literally the simple answer. I think Alonso will definitely play. Yeah, I think he might. Alonso's either playing, today or he's going to be playing on the weekend, to be honest. Werner, good choice, but still, I probably wouldn't go for him. Will Messi start? Yes, he should be. Is Villarreal player promising? Definitely. Danjuma, aka Groneveld. Also Rulli in goal. And maybe someone else like Gerard Moreno. Casemiro hasn't really been too good this season. Not getting too many ball recoveries, so I probably wouldn't recommend him yet. Will Chiesa get many points? Obviously, I wish I could tell you and tell the future. Personally, I think he will be getting points. Not 11 points every single game like he did against Chelsea, but I think he will be doing all right. Haaland or Lewandowski? Lewandowski. Fati over Adeyemi? Well, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I should go for Fati. But let's say, for example, with this team, I'd be... Actually, I think I'd have I enough? No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'd be 0.2 million off. But either way, this is probably not going to be my final team, as I talked about before. I'll probably be changing things quite a bit. So let's see, date. Everyone on the bench is on the 20th of October. Yeah, Benzema captain I probably will go for. And Lewandowski or Sane will be my captain tomorrow. So yeah, that's how I'm looking like at the moment. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. But yeah, at the moment, that's my current team. And I'll be making a few changes later on. Is Hakimi a good option? I probably would rather have Nuno Mendes. Hakimi is a good option though, yeah. Haaland or Benzema? I'd say Benzema specifically for the next two, but Haaland is just so good. Force on Batshuayi, good choice if you want someone really cheap. I'd probably consider him. Yeah, rock and roll. Yeah, put your question up and I'll answer it. I didn't see your questions. Fati and Cancelo or Haaland and Laporte? Great question. I probably would go for Haaland and Laporte, but both are really good. Foden or Grealish? Foden. Kante or Groneveld? I'd go for Groneveld. Is Leipzig a good defence? Not necessarily, to be honest. They're alright, but they're not too good. So I think Mbappe should be decent this week. Doesn't look like Mahrez starts this weekend, does it? Probably not. And Mahrez is just such an iffy player. I thought he'd do really well against Burnley. Unfortunately, he didn't. Thoughts on Havertz? Could be really good if he starts, but you just can never know when he's going to start. I think he's going to be in and out of that Chelsea team, so I probably wouldn't go for him. Limitless, Foden or Mahrez? I'd go for Foden, but I like Mahrez too. If Destinoglu keeps a clean sheet, would you sub him out for Mendy? Probably not, to be honest, because you'd need Mendy to at least get a clean sheet to match him and then maybe make some save points to really justify that. Foden and Porro or Bernardo Silva and James? Good question, probably Foden and Porro. Is Paulinho a good option? Yeah, he's decent, but once again, I've been looking at the options around his price and I probably would rather go for the others. If Limitless, choose 3 forwards. I talked about this in my best Limitless team video. You can check it out. Lewandowski for sure. Probably Haaland and Benzema, but you can also go for Lukaku if you want. Porro or Mendes? I probably would be leaning towards Mendes, but I'm not sure if he starts every single game. 7 million good midfielder. Danjuma at 6 million, Barrios at 5, Alvarez at 4.5. I'd also be looking at Bellingham at 7.2 if you can afford it. Chiesa or Sane? Sane for me. Salah? You can't have everyone, unfortunately, and he does face Atletico, but of course, he's in such great form. Maybe going without him is a big mistake. Is Lukaku playing tomorrow or resting? He might not play, to be honest. Any thoughts on Barcelona? Any good Chelsea mid picks? And I feel that Dortmund defense is risky. Yeah, I'm not going to be doubling up on Dortmund defense. The reason why I like Thomas Meunier a lot is the ball recoveries. As for Chelsea midfielders, I'd go for Mason Mount or Kai Havertz. But once again, I must stress I'm not too confident in their assets. I'd rather go for Phil Foden, for example, or Grealish. And Barcelona assets, I think Ansu Fati could be really good. Depay, so one of them two. Their defense doesn't really fill me with confidence, so Depay or Fati for me from Barcelona. Hopefully you heard that rock and roll, and good luck with this week. De Bruyne and Grealish good for the round? Yes, they are, mate. They are, but I probably wouldn't double up on City midfield. I'd double up on the defense and go for one of their attackers. Yeah, no need to spam the chat, please. Otherwise, your comment won't be read out, especially if I've answered it already. Can you show us your final transfers, please? I will be, but probably after the deadline has passed, just to prevent people from mindlessly copying. How about... wait, no... Wait. Okay, I have to check this out. Maybe I just haven't heard of him. Let's see. I just want to prevent trolling, so let's see this. Okay. I'm guessing you're not trolling. No. Okay, yeah, you're not trolling. You're not trolling. Okay, I don't know why I was being so cautious there. Now, I probably would prefer Adeyemi, to be honest, from the same team, but he could be someone to consider. There's also Batshuayi around the same price, but ultimately, I probably would want someone more expensive. There's not really a Haaland right now who's starts at 4.5 million and just performs like a 10 million striker, to be honest. Okay, whoa, what the hell happened there? Damn, what happened there? I didn't know it happened. I think when I change tabs, it does that. Okay. Apology. Yeah, let me know if it does that. That was a bit weird. Lukaku or Salah? Probably Salah, because I'm not sure if Lukaku starts. Salah or Benzema captain? I probably would go for Benzema. Benzema or Messi? Benzema. De Bruyne or Mahrez? De Bruyne. What about Dest? He could be decent, but I would rather go for their attackers, to be honest. Hakimi or Meunier on a limitless? Meunier. Best 5 to 5.5 million midfielders, definitely Barrios for me. Lukaku or Adeyemi or Haaland? Probably Haaland if you can afford it, yeah. Salah or Nkunku? I'd go for Salah. Upamecano or Sula, bro? Sula. Salah or De Bruyne? Probably De Bruyne for the next two, but I like Salah overall. Roussillon replacement? If you can afford it, maybe Porro. Someone around 4.5 million, Nuno Mendes, but around 4 million specifically, there's Sapa Costa, but I probably wouldn't be, prioritizing that transfer. Will Kimmich start? He will be, I think. Adeyemi or Ansu Fati? I prefer Adeyemi, but Fati's good too. Dzeko or Adeyemi? I'd go for Adeyemi. Benzema or Haaland captain? Benzema. Where is Haaland? He's not in my team, mate. He's not in my team. Sane or Salah? Probably Sane at the moment. Lukaku out in the last match, I think, playing this game. Yeah. Yeah, and then if he does, he might be a serious doubt. Oh my God, against Norwich, that would be... I hope he doesn't play tomorrow and he plays against Norwich and he's fully recharged. Sane or Salah? I answered this question. I don't know why you're asking again, but I'd go for Sane right now. Salah or Chiesa? Salah, but I like Chiesa a lot. Lewandowski or Haaland? Lewandowski. Will Rudiger play? That's a tough question because he's just come back from an injury. He might be eased back into it, but I think he's going to be in the squad. I'm not sure if he's going to start, to be quite frank. Foden or Sane? Sane. Are you 100% sure Adeyemi starts? Not 100% sure, but I'd say 90%. He is fit. He's in training. Dzeko or Fati? I'd go for Fati. Thank you, Santiago. Herrera or Wendell? Probably Herrera. Foden or Grealish? Foden. Sula or Laporte? To be fair, though, look, Sula will get more ball recoveries, so... City have a better defence, but Sula has more ball recoveries. Adan or Kobel? Probably Kobel. I reckon Lukaku rests today and plays in the Prem. I hope you're right, mate. I really do. Benzema or Lewandowski? Lewandowski for sure. Sandro or Danilo from Juventus? I'd go for Sandro. Are you going to make other changes? Yes, I will be. And I'll be confirming them probably after the deadline in around an hour's time. Wow, it's already 5 o'clock. Is Ben Chilwell a safe pick? No, because it could be Alonso playing today and... then it will be Chilwell at the weekend. Mendy starting? Maybe. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but I think he will be. I think when Chelsea change their goalkeepers, obviously I'll be in the mud, potentially. But, yeah, I think that will probably be around match day 5 or 6. And Chelsea do play tomorrow, by the way. Just a quick correction. I was talking as if Chelsea play today. They don't, based on what we've seen so far. Let's see. Let's get this back in. Salah or Vinicius as a captain, I'd still go for Salah. Aspie rotation risk, I think he's the least rotation risk of anyone, but maybe he deserves a break, so you could be right. Best 4.5 million goalkeeper, I'd say Rulli because of the next 2 fixtures. But there's also Kobel. There's other choices, I don't think he's necessarily, the best, up until the rest of the group stages. I think if you want someone long-term, just go for Kobel. For the next 2, Rulli. Reece James starting, I think so. I could be wrong. Adeyemi or Dzeko, Adeyemi. Is Curtis Jones good for the bench? I think so, but remember, you can bring on your substitutes. Llorente, okay. He's the decent choice, but I'm not sure if he's a great option. That's just kind of my personal opinion. Captain Mbappe or De Bruyne? I'd go for De Bruyne. Wow, thank you so much to everyone who's been tuning in. 500 people, over 500. And just a quick plug also for those who actually asked for my socials. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe for new. It really helps out the channel. Really appreciate all the support as always. I'll try to get through all your questions. And yeah, hopefully I get all of them answered. And these are my Twitter and Instagram handles. It's the same as my YouTube, Dylan_RCM. You can follow me there. And I'm always active on those platforms. And you can send in your teams, for example. And then when I rate your actual FPL teams, they can actually feature in future videos. So thank you very much for all the support. We're going to get back to our team. But yeah, obviously I have to say, really appreciate everyone tuning in, and smashing the like button will really help out the channel. And here we go. We're back with the team on screen. And let's see how it is. Foden as captain, I think he's a good choice, but I probably wouldn't go for him. Do you know if Rudiger's playing? If you had to ask me, do I think he will? I think so. But he might not because he's just come back from an injury. Thoughts on Rashford? Good option, but I probably wouldn't go for him. Rodri, Laporte, Cancelo. I like the defenders. I like them a lot, but Rodri, I probably wouldn't go for him. Best 4.5 million defender, Arsud Hindra. I probably would be looking at Borro, Nuno Mendes, for example, and Mazzauri. He is probably my favourite out of the lot. And also Di Marco from Inter Milan. Thoughts on Dzeko? Good choice, but I'd rather have Fati or also Adeyemi. Who would you replace Nkunku with on a wild card? Maybe Alvarez, and then use that money to upgrade my defence, goalkeepers, and potentially one of my strikers. That's what I could do, or maybe one of my other midfielders. Benzema or Haaland? I'd go for Benzema potentially, but Haaland's really good, I think up until the rest of the group stages, Haaland is the better option, but for the next 2, Benzema's looking pretty promising. Meunier or Chiellini? I'd go for Meunier, and if you want someone from Juventus, go for Szczesny or Alexandro. Adeyemi or Haaland? I'd go for Haaland if you have enough money, for sure. Bellingham or Foden? I probably would go for Foden, but I like Bellingham too. How do I get Rodri? Who do you get for Rodri? Maybe Barrios, for example. Curtis Jones, but I'd mainly be looking at Barrios or Alvarez as your cheap midfielder. Firmino, not for me. He might not even start. It could be Jota and then Firmino in the Premier League, and it could be a role reversal. Are you going to put in De Bruyne? Probably not, to be honest with you. CR7 or Haaland? Haaland for sure. CR7 to Benzema or Ferran to Jude? Ferran Torres is injured. He's out, so I'd definitely do that. Do Ferran Torres to Jude Bellingham. Best midfielder for 7 million now. Bellingham is 7.2. Danjuma, if you can. Thank you so much to Michael. Really appreciate the super chat. You didn't have to. What are the changes you would make for this wildcard? Destanoglu, Rulli, Cancelo, Kimmich, Meunier, Aspie, Santos, Salah, Sane, Foden, Idrissa Gana Gueye, Wendell, Benzema, Lewandowski, and Enemcha. I butchered that for sure. Okay, so I really like Benzema and Lewandowski. I like Idrissa Gana Gueye, Foden, Sane, Salah. I like Aspie, Meunier, Kimmich, Cancelo, Destanoglu, and even Rulli. I would consider changing Santos to another 4 million defender, even if it is, for example, Roussillon, despite Wolfsburg's struggles. And I'd also be a bit concerned about Wendell and Enemcha, or whatever his name is. But I would probably be looking to change those sorts of players. But then again, with the budget you have, they're probably some of the best you can go for. Thank you so much for the super chat, Michael. Hopefully you got your question answered. And if you have any more questions, then let me know. Lukaku or Benzema? Benzema. Haaland or Salah? Captain, Haaland. Adeyemi or Haaland? Haaland, once again, like I said, Ethan. Recommend some defenders with high ball recoveries. Thomas Meunier, Upamecano, Sula. Yeah, those are kind of the main ones. There's also Azpilicueta and Rudiger. Christensen too. Not getting Salah? Maybe not, to be honest. No Chiesa? Probably not. I've got Sane instead, but I do like Chiesa a lot, to be honest. Laporte or Cancelo? I might go for both, to be honest, but if I had to pick one, I think Laporte... Cancelo will get more points, I think, because of ball recoveries, but Laporte is $1 million cheaper, pretty much. I'd say Cancelo if you can afford it. Laporte or Meunier? Probably Meunier because of the ball recoveries. Did you wildcard? Yes, I have, mate. Ronaldo or Benzema? Benzema. Messi or Benzema? I would go for Benzema. Captain, Benzema or Haaland? Probably Benzema. Meunier or Marquinhos on the limitless chip? I'd go for Meunier. Sandro or Meunier? Probably Meunier. Vinicius Jr. or Adeyemi? Probably Adeyemi. I'd rather have Benzema for Real Madrid. Sane or De Bruyne? I'd go for Sane. If you can afford it, go for De Bruyne. But I just think in terms of value for money, Sane is better. Do you feel confident about your squad with transfers for the next week? I'd say so, yeah. But of course, if some of my players are benched or, they do terribly, then I will probably feel a bit different. Captain, Benzema or Mbappe? I'd go for Benzema. Should I have Jorginho in my team? You don't have to have him, to be honest. If you don't have him, don't get him in my opinion. Mbappe or Benzema? Benzema. Militao or someone else? If you can, Laporte, Sula, or Thomas Meunier. Should I go for Inter Milan defenders? Maybe. Maybe go for DeMarco, Skriniar or De Vrij. Benzema or Fati? Benzema for sure. Mazzauri to Pedro Porro? I would rather have Mazzauri, to be honest. Navas or Donnarumma? I just think it's very risky. You don't know who's going to start there. It probably should be Donnarumma, but I probably would steer clear. Bellingham or Man City midfielder? Probably Man City midfielder like Foden. Best time to activate Limitless and Wildcard? Limitless Matchday 5, Wildcard Matchday 3. If you want to save the Wildcard, then just activate the Limitless at any time before Matchday 6, to be honest. Adeyemi plus KDB or Benzema plus Chiesa? A really good question, to be honest. That's a really good question. If you already have a premium striker, so you already have two premium strikers like Lewandowski, for example, then I'd go for Adeyemi and Kevin De Bruyne. But if you already have a cheap striker, then just go for Benzema and Chiesa. Musiala or someone else? Danjuma. Let me try to get your name. Ion. Ghazal, a good option, not for me. Sane or Chiesa, says Mohammed. I'd go for Sane. 4.5 million goalkeeper apart from Kobel. I would go for Rulli, but I'd be a bit concerned. Actually, no, yeah, they play on different days. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Go for Rulli, I think. Foden or Grealish? Foden, Jonathan. Gnabry over Salah? I would still rather have Salah. And Herrera for the next 2 weeks. He's decent, but not too sure about him. Adeyemi or Haaland? Haaland for sure, Ethan. Silva or Christensen? I'd go for Christensen. Sane or Foden? Sane, but I like Foden a lot. Foden or Grealish? Foden. Sane or Gnabry? Sane. Are you sure on Nkunku? He's not going to be in my final team, probably. Meunier or Azpilicueta? I would go for Azpilicueta. Is this your final squad? It isn't. I'll be showing my final squad probably after the deadline. Bentancur, good option. Not for me. Bellingham or Foden? I'd go for Foden, but I like Bellingham a lot. Probably, I'd say longer term he's more safe and he's a better asset, but for the next two, potentially Foden. Captain De Bruyne or Messi? I'd go for De Bruyne, but Messi's a really good option. Should I wildcard or not? If you are in a bit of a pickle and you're going to make a lot of transfers, then yes. Otherwise, you can just save it. De Bruyne or Salah for the next 2 weeks? Definitely De Bruyne. Adeyemi or Lewandowski or Depay for captain? Remember, you can captain players on different days. So let me actually check. So I think Adeyemi plays tomorrow. Maybe you're onto something. Yeah, okay. They all play on the same day. Fair enough. Lewandowski, just go for Lewandowski. I wouldn't kind of overcomplicate it, to be honest. Let's get this up. Damn, the Seagulls are going crazy. Probably because Brighton are in the top 4. Fucking hell. All right. So Barrios, Camavinga, Herrera, Bellingham. Are they good? Yes, especially Barrios and Bellingham. The other two, I have mixed thoughts about. Foden or I think I was Barella. I would go for Foden. For some Camavinga, not too convinced about him, to be honest. CR7 for Benzema for a hit. I'd probably just avoid the hit, to be honest. I wouldn't want to take hits when there's only 13 match days. Salah or Haller captain? I'd go for Salah, but Haller's a good choice. Welcome, Nick. Is Benzema locked in for you? Probably, to be honest, yeah. Midfielders for Limitless, Kevin De Bruyne. I'd still go for Salah. Bruno Fernandes, potentially. You could maybe go for another City midfielder in this case because it's a Limitless. You could go for Foden, for example. Yeah, I'd be looking at those sorts of options. And then other than that, I would probably be looking at... I mean, I'd talk about this in my best Limitless team. And yeah, Sane. Definitely go for Sane. Chiesa's another one. So go for 5 of those that I just mentioned. Haaland or Lukaku? I go for Haaland. Laporte or Walker? Probably Laporte because of the value for money. Herrera from PSG is a decent choice. Same with Idrissa Gana Gueye. Best 5.3 million midfield, Barrios. De Vrij or Dumfries? Probably De Vrij, but I'm not too convinced about either of them. Mahrez as a try. I'd rather go for Foden or Grealish. Thoughts on Pedro Goncalves? Yeah, he's a decent choice, but I'm not going to be going for him myself. Adeyemi or Lukaku? Lukaku if you have enough money, but Adeyemi for me just offers better value. Adeyemi plus KDB or Benzema plus Foden? Yeah, I would probably go for Benzema and Foden, yeah. Should I upgrade Aspi or Adeyemi on a wildcard? And for who? I just keep Azpilicueta, to be honest, and Adeyemi you can just keep, to be fair. I think they're both good choices, and then you can get 2 premium strikers. Is Fati, Lewandowski, Lukaku good? Yes, just bear in mind that Lukaku could be benched in matchday 3. Sandro Meunier, I'd go for Meunier. Salah and Nkunku, Salah. Salah versus Benzema, Benzema captain. Opinions on Sheriff, they're a decent team. I wouldn't be going for their assets, but I'd be a bit hesitant about, doubling or tripling up on Inter Milan, for example. Thank you, Ricardo. Salah or Benzema captain, I'd go for Benzema. Why Benzema over Haaland? He's cheaper and it gives me more money to upgrade the rest of my team. Me or Salah? Probably Salah at the moment. I don't know. Nuno or KDB? KDB. I'm guessing. Nkunku. 4.5 million midfielder. Just go for Alvarez. My midfielder Salah, De Bruyne, Sane, Chiesa, Bruno. Is that good? Yeah, definitely, really good. Best midfielder under 5.6. I'd be looking at Barrios or Alvarez. What do you think of Cristiano? I think he's obviously really good going forward, but I don't expect Sheriff to keep getting clean sheets. So I'm not too sure about getting him into my team. But of course, he's been so good so far. The highest scoring defender. Got a really big return in matchday 1. Nkunku replacements, Bellingham, Foden, Grealish. You could go for Mount or Havertz as a punt, but I'd mainly be looking at one of those lot. Maybe Chiesa or Sane if you have enough money. And also Danjuma from Villarreal, aka Groeneveld. Why Laporte better than Cancelo? I actually said Cancelo is better, but Laporte offers better value for money. If you can afford it, go for Cancelo. They're both really good choices. For Limitless, Nkunku or KDB? Go for KDB. Bruno or Chiesa? I would probably be tempted to go for Chiesa in my normal team, to be honest. I scored 1,400 goals in my stream. I'm better than Salah. Fair enough. Maybe Salah scored 2,000 though. You never know. Thoughts on a punt for the first day with the security of subs? Good point. Really good point. Maybe you could go for Kevin De Bruyne or Foden as a captain. So maybe a City player who is starting, of course. And if not, a Messi or an Mbappe. So obviously it depends who you have. But I'd be looking at one of those lot as, I'd say a differential captain. Best 6 million midfielder. I'd go for Danjuma. Foden or Salah on a wild card? Maybe Foden. Foden starting worrying as he's in my FPL team. Yeah, I would be worried too, to be fair, Harry. De Vrij or Laporte, and why? Laporte because City have a much better defence. Best 5.6 million midfielder? I'd just go for Barrios as a 5 million. Who will be your captain for the first day? Probably Benzema. Lukaku as captain. Remember, obviously, he does play tomorrow. So just captain someone else who plays today first, and then you can change it to him. Is Di Marco starting? I'm not too sure. The lineups are out later on for Inter Milan, unfortunately, but I think he will. Are you going to keep Kobel? Probably not, Parser. What's your final team? My final team will be confirmed later on, but I'm making a few changes, mainly towards my defence, midfield, and goalkeepers. Batshuayi or Adeyemi? Adeyemi for me. Adeyemi, Vinicius or Dzeko? Adeyemi, Nasser. Substitution for Nkunku, same price. Foden, if you can afford it. Obviously, he's slightly more expensive. If not, you can just go for Bellingham, I think. Where's Haaland? Not in my team. Salah and Nkunku, wildcard Salah. Other budget defenders than Roussillon. I think Borro in defence. There's also Mazzari as a 4.5 million option. KDB or Benzema captain. I'd say Benzema, but you can always take a punt on KDB and then switch it to Lewandowski tomorrow. Pavard, good choice, but I'd rather go for Upamecano or Sula. I think I'm locked. Thanks for the help. Thank you, Ricardo. Really appreciate you dropping by. Foden or Nkunku on the wildcard? Foden. Salah, Lukaku, CR7 or Lewandowski for captain. Remember, you can captain people on different days. So captain Salah today and Lewandowski tomorrow. Ahmed. Benzema, Depay, Lewandowski, Alvarez, Foden, Bellingham, Chiesa, Azpilicueta, Hummels, Sula, Danilo, Militao, Szczesny. Any thoughts? I'm surprised you have no Juventus players. Yeah, I mean, I would love to have De Vrij, for example, or not De Vrij, De Ligt, but unfortunately he's injured. I think he's really good value for his for money, but maybe I could go for Bonucci instead or Alexandro, but I probably will be doubling up on City defence. As for your team, I like it. I'd be a bit concerned about, let's say, I think the fifth midfielder you mentioned after Chiesa. Also, I think your second goalkeeper he is quite cheap. I can get that, but you can always go for someone else. I'm pretty sure he's the Benfica keeper, isn't he? And he does play Bayern Munich. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong. I probably am. But I'd be concerned about those sorts of players. The rest are fine. Foden or Bellingham, I'd go for Foden. Foden or Alvarez, if you can afford to go for Foden for sure. Will Alonso start? I'm not too sure, to be honest. He's either starting today or tomorrow, or if not, on the weekend. Lukaku or Benzema? I'd go for Benzema. Do you think Alexandra will play? Yes, he will, I think. Depay, Fati or Adeyemi? I'd go for Adeyemi, but the other two are really good too. Christensen or Thiago Silva? Says Uros. I'd go for Christensen. Can't upgrade Meunier for a Juve defender. Let me check. I've got... No, what was this about? Oh, yeah. So I have 0.3 million in the bank, so no. I'd be 0.2 million off from getting, that player. So yeah. Is Sheriff FC and Juventus goalkeepers? Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, the Sheriff goalkeeper, yeah, he's Greek. That's where the Greek name comes from. Yeah, he's looking really good so far, but I'm not too sure about Sheriff goalkeepers, to be honest. I know he did really well in the first 2 match days, but I probably would be a bit hesitant. So you could even just get Dustinoglu, who's 4 million, and that gives you more money to upgrade the rest of your team. Do you think Thiago Silva will start? I'm not too sure, to be honest. He's in and out of the team. He is a veteran now. So I'd be a bit more confident about Rudiger when he's fully fit and, he's, back into the rhythm. Obviously Christensen and obviously Azpilicueta. Neuer to back up Dustinoglu, okay. I think that's fine, but I'd rather have Mendy over Neuer. Yeah, I think that's fine though. Best 5.7 million midfielder, the same as before. I'd go for Barrios just as a cheap one. Sula or Laporte? I'd go for maybe Sula just for the ball recoveries, but Laporte is really good. If I have to choose between Sane and Salah, Sane, I guess. Valverde or Alvarez? Just go for Alvarez. 2 midfielders or 2 defenders in substitutions, 3-4-3 formations. It doesn't really matter. Ultimately, just have players on your bench who aren't playing today. And then whoever blanks from your first team, take them out and bring on those players who play tomorrow. False on Szczesny, he's a good option, the Flying Dutchman. I talked about him in my best wildcard team, but I would be a bit hesitant about going with him and a Juventus defender like Alexandro, but he is a good choice. You have both Adeyemi and Roussillon. Probably not on my final squad, mate, but obviously I understand your concern. Are you on your wildcard, mate? Yes, I am. What other Man City player will you use? Maybe Cancelo or another City defender. Sane or Bellingham? I'd go for Sane if you can afford it. Lewandowski or Haller? Lewandowski. How are you doing? I'm doing well, Adil. What about you? How do I get Camavinga? I have 6 million. Yeah, get Danjuma, aka Grunewald from Villarreal. Should I captain Benzema or Haaland? I'd go for Benzema. Aspi or Alexandra on a wild card. Azpilicueta. And by the way, I encourage all the mods just to kind of time out anyone who does spam the chat. It does help out to get through as many questions and people as possible. Just a sneak peek of your team. I mean, to be fair, this is a sneak peek of my team because not much will change, but a few fundamentals will, such as my defense, my midfield and attack, and including Nkunku, so obviously I'm not going to lie to you lot, but I just want to prevent people from mindlessly copying the team. I know not everyone does that. They just want to see what my team is like, get some ideas, and that's completely fine, but some people do copy everything, and I'd rather prevent that from happening. So I'll show my team probably after the deadline. Reece James to start? Yeah, I think so. Bellingham or Foden? Foden. Where is Haaland, Salah? At the moment, they're not on my team. I'd love to have them, but, the replacements aren't too bad, I think. What will you do in the knockouts without any chip? Just have to really plan and, think about who's going to go through, to be honest. Why no Haller? Shaky Dortmund defence? Probably because I think Adeyemi, his form and his price just really attracts, it's really attractive, so I'm probably going to go for him instead. I think BVB defenders is not good. Yeah, I agree with you. I think in terms of Meunier, it's the ball recoveries that I really like. And if I could afford Alexandro, maybe I'd consider it, but I can understand what you mean. Aspi or Cancelo on a wild card? I'd still go for Aspi, but Cancelo's really good as well. Sane or Bellingham? Sane. Good 4.5 million midfielders. Just go for Alvarez, to be honest. He's probably the best one. Adeyemi or Fati? I would go for Adeyemi. Forson Goretzka, it looks like he's going to be injured. I mean, check it up as well. But from what I saw on Twitter, it looks like him and Alphonso Davies are out. Foden or Salah? For the next two, Foden. Overall, it's definitely Salah. Bellingham or De Jong? Bellingham for sure. Walker, good choice. Why not Mendy? He's probably coming into my team. Captain Foden, yeah. Probably not for me, but he's a good choice. No doubt about it. Is Bruno good for Limitless? Yes, he is. And he actually featured in my best Limitless team. Two midfielders. I have 15.5 million budget. You could go for Danjuma and Sane. Messi or Lukaku? Normally I'd say Lukaku, but because he might not play this week, you could just go for Messi. How many points do you have? Oh yeah, I don't have it here. That's a good question. Let me... I'm going to try find a way to... Yeah, I'm trying to remember the amount of points I have. Because normally I have it on the left-hand side of the screen, but I don't right now. I'll check for you here, so don't worry. I'll give you the answer. Yeah, unfortunately I don't remember everything off the top of my head, but I have 164 points overall. I got 106 in Matchday 2, and I'm around 3,166 in the world. So yeah, that's my rank at the moment. Yeah, hopefully you got that. And there we go. So, let's see. Just making sure my team is fully organized. I think I'm gonna be. It's kind of locked in at the moment. And yeah, I'll be showing you the changes later on. It's not many changes, to be honest. It's nothing fancy. All right, let's get it back on. Let's try to get through the questions as well. Oh my god, the chat is going crazy. I mean, come on, give me a chance, guys. Give me a chance. Is Haaland playing? Yes, he will. He's back in the squad. Haaland or Salah captain first day? I would go for Haaland because Salah faces Atletico Madrid. Captain Mbappe, Foden, Cancelo. I'd be tempted by Foden, but the other two are really good too. The last midfielder I mentioned is Frank Castañeda from Colombia with Sheriff FC. Scored 6 goals this season so far and scored 33 last season. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, these sorts of players I might not be too keen on, but if you have a good feeling about them, then go for it. Alonso or James? I'd go for James because I'm not sure if Alonso starts. Honestly, I'd rather get Christensen, Rudiger and Azpilicueta because of ball recoveries. Hey mate, Depay or Benzema? I would rather go for Benzema, but Depay's a good choice, Amir. For Limitless, should I get Barella or other player? Barella's a good choice too, but I would probably prefer Bellingham, for example, Foden, Chiesa, Sane, Danjuma, aka Grunewald. Yeah, exactly. The Flying Dutchman. Yeah, slow mode is on. Obviously, imagine if it wasn't on. I mean, Jesus Christ. Foden or Grealish? Foden. Chilwell. I'm not sure if he starts this week. I would rather go... I mean, once again, I have to say this a lot. You know, the Chelsea defenders, I would rather go for their centre-backs because of ball recoveries. Why not Joshua Kimmich? Because he's not getting ball recoveries. And also, Sula and Upamecano are also really good value. Alonso or Azpilicueta, no doubt. Lukaku, CR7 or Lewandowski? Who should I drop for the best midfielder? Keep Lewandowski for sure, and probably drop Ronaldo, if not Lukaku, depending on if you think he's going to start or not. Sula or Upamecano? I've gone for Sula because he's cheaper, but Upamecano will probably get a few more ball recoveries. Aspi or Cancelo on a wild card? Aspi. Is Danjuma nailed? I wouldn't say 100% nailed, but his performances have been so good, it's hard to drop him. Alexandra or Sula? Sula for me. Foden or Mahrez? Foden. Depay or Haller? Depay, but Haller's really good, to be honest. Is it worth having Paulinho, a cheap 6 million striker, to have both Foden and Salah? I think it could be worth it. If not, you could go for Batshuayi. Borro, Meunier and Cancelo, or Militao, Sandro and Laporte? Great question. I would probably go for the first set, but they're both really good. Cheap goalkeepers. Destanoglu is your 4 million. He plays. He could maybe get a clean sheet against Sporting Lisbon. There's the Sporting Lisbon keeper himself, Adan. There is Kobel. There's Rulli. All at 4.5 million, so get one of those. Hakimi or Sandro? I'd go for Sandro. When will you change your team? I've already changed it, but I'll be confirming it after the deadline has passed. Rashford or Gnabry? I always have Sane. Gnabry for me. Should I captain Mbappe or Benzema? I'd go for Benzema, but you can afford to go different because Lewandowski tomorrow could be really good. Sula starts. He should be. Hopefully he does. How many changes will you do from this squad? Probably 4 or 5. Alternative for Roussillon? Yeah, if you can afford it, Mazzauri at 4.5 million. Trent or Cancelo? Cancelo for sure. Best 9.4 million midfielder, either Sane or Chiesa. Walker or Cancelo on a wild card? Cancelo for me. Foden and Adeyemi versus Haaland and Casemiro. Foden and Adeyemi. 2 cheap goalkeepers or 1 premium? That's a good question. I think both are viable strategies, but because Mendy faces Malmo twice, I would be tempted to say him and the 4 million. Rashford or Gnabry plus Sane? I'd still go for Gnabry and Sane, to be honest. But if you have Lewandowski already, maybe just go for Chiesa. Thoughts on Bernardo Silva or Henderson? I'd go for Bernardo Silva. Foden or Nkunku? Foden. Cancelo or Lucas Hernandez? Cancelo for me. ¿Ese es tu equipo definitivo? No, no es. Voy a confirmar mi equipo después del deadline. Thank you very much, Kat, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Thanks for doing the stream. No problem, mate. Obviously, really happy to be here and answering all your questions and comments. And thank you so much. You didn't have to. And good luck with UCL Fantasy Matchday 3. Goncalves, good for Besiktas back-to-back. Yeah, I think he's a good choice. You know, I haven't said he's a bad one, but he's not someone I've got my eye on right now. But of course, you know, we can't have, you know, all the same teams and everything. I think he could be really good. If you have a good feeling, go for it for sure. Salah or KDB? I think KDB on a wild card, or for the next two at least. Yeah, Dragomir, I answered your question already about 9.4 million midfielders. What language was that? That was Spanish. -8 or a wild card? What do you think? Maybe wild card, to be honest. What the fuck? You speak Spanish? Yeah, I do, mate. I do. Midfielders in Bellingham's price range. Good question. I would probably say Danjuma at 6 million. Let me actually look at all the options so I can, you know, offer some more players rather than the ones I've kept on repeating. So price. Yeah, let's get rid of Bellingham and let's put affordable. Yeah, this guy's been looking pretty good from Bruges, but I probably won't be going for him. So let's get the midfielders up. Let's go down. Yeah, once again, I don't really like too many of these options, despite how well they have done so far. I'm mainly looking at the cheaper ones like Barrios, Alvarez. You know, you can go for Herrera or Idrissa Gana Gueye. Let's see, who else is there? I've checked these lists so many times, believe me, probably a very unhealthy amount of times. But yeah, I'm not too... I mean, Rakitic is a decent option, to be fair. I browsed through him earlier. But yeah, Bellingham's probably my favourite around this price. If you can afford someone more expensive, I'd go for Foden or Grealish. There's also, you know, a Chelsea midfielder as well. But yeah, that's what I'd mainly be looking at, to be fair. Obviously, if anyone has any suggestions, then let us know in the live chat. And we've only got 24 minutes left for the deadline. So obviously, really appreciate everyone tuning in. And remember to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. And, oh my god, why does it keep doing that? Jesus, that's annoying. Alright, 4 million defender. Zappacosta for me. Can't monitor the Spanish chat as I don't speak Spanish. Yeah, fair enough. Don't worry about that. I'll probably try to take charge of that. Porque todos van por Adeyemi. Porque ganó 3 penales, hizo 2 goles. No, 4 penales ganó en los primeros 2 partidos. Y sí, mira, cuesta 7.1 millones. Para mí es uno de los mejores. Está también Ansu Fati y Dzeko, pero para mí Adeyemi es el mejor. Y Wolfsburg está sufriendo un poco en la Bundesliga. Entonces, sí, Adeyemi es muy bueno. Y los alemanes lo encantan. Alright, so yeah, there you go. That little transition. It's like a Two-Face, you know, speaking. Benzema, well, Bal. Who's that? I want to answer your question, but I don't know who Bal is. Bal and... Haaland. Yeah, Benzema, I guess. But Haaland is really good, mate. I mean, I struggle so much to kind of say someone else. Cancelo or Sula? If you can afford it, go for Cancelo, but Sula's so good for ball recoveries. Nkunku versus PSG or Goncalves? I go for Goncalves, to be honest. I'm pronouncing it wrong, by the way. If there's anyone Portuguese in the chat, correct me about that. Captain Mbappe or Benzema? I go for Benzema. Man's flexing. I'm not, mate. I'm just answering someone's question, for Christ's sake. When would you use Limitless on Wildcard buy? So I used my Limitless in Matchday 2, and it was, you know, obviously the right decision in the end. And I'm wildcarding right now. If I hadn't used my Limitless, I would maybe consider using it now up until Matchday 5. So that's definitely for sure. You know, between Matchdays 3 and 5, use your Limitless. And if you use your Limitless now, then save the wildcard for the knockout stages. Otherwise, wildcard now, and there we go. Is that Argentinian Spanish? Yes, it is. That's why, for example, in Argentina, let me try to give an example. When you say pollo, which means chicken, if you say pollo, basically they pronounce the double L's as sh. Obviously, a lot of South Americans and Spaniards find it weird, but yeah, there's a few differences, not too much though. Teach me Spanish, mate. To be fair, that'll take even longer than this stream. But then again, Spanish is probably one of the easier languages. I'm saying that as someone who's kind of born to it. But for example, I'd find German really hard, to be honest. Seawald from Salzburg. Yeah, a lot of people have been mentioning him. Isn't he the out of position midfielder who's playing up front? Yeah, he could be someone else to look at, to be fair. Is this your final team? It isn't. Si se escucha el acento argentino. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, people say I sound English when speaking Spanish or Italian, Spanish, kind of like a mixture of all these different nations, which I completely understand. I don't sound like a native Argentinian because I wasn't born there. Sane or KDB? Sane for me because of value for money, but KDB's so good. Should I keep Mendy on my wild card? Keeping him is costing me a midfield. If it's costing you midfield, then go for someone cheaper, but obviously I think, for example, having 4 good midfielders and having 1 budget option and you have Mendy, that's fine. But if you're having 2 or 3 budget options, that's where it's a bit of a concern, to be honest. Best midfielder under 5.5 million, I'd go for Barrios or Alvarez. Por favor, ponga él. Okay, I think you're just saying random words here. Skriniar or Kimmich? I'd go for Kimmich. But to be fair, you could just go for Upamecano or Sula. Is Haaland a good pick? Yes, he is a good pick. You know, just because I don't have him doesn't mean he's bad. When is the knockout stage? Use the wild card. After the round of 16, so heading into Matchday 9 or Matchday 10, pretty much. Also Matchday 11. So basically, as soon as you approach the quarterfinals or semi-finals, a lot of your players are knocked out. You can use your wild card and you'll be in a good position. Lautaro Martinez, good option, but Inter Milan are a bit inconsistent. Sheriff have been very good. So obviously Lautaro Martinez has actually been involved in 8 goals in his last 10 starts for both Argentina and Inter Milan, but I would be a bit concerned about him. He is still a good option though. Is Havertz a good pick? I think he is if he starts, but once again, I just don't know how often he will do. Militao or Dumfries? I probably would say Dumfries, but I'm not too sure about that. Should I use my wild card? Once again, if you're in a position where you want to make a lot of changes, then use it now. I think it's the best time to use it in the group stages. Salah or Benzema captain? Benzema for me. I'm going with a balanced team this time. So am I, to be honest, and that means making some sacrifices elsewhere. Sapa Costa or Roussillon? I would rather have Roussillon, but both good options, I guess. Is your English really good or your Spanish really good? My English is better than my Spanish, to be honest, but I'm native in both. But I would struggle, I'd say, sometimes speaking Spanish. Grealish or Mahrez? I'd go for Grealish probably. Lewandowski or Salah captain? Remember, you can captain people on different days. So captain Salah today, captain Lewandowski tomorrow. Simple. 2 good midfielders for 14.7 million. You could maybe go for Foden and Danjuma. If not, you can go for Sane and Barrios. Grealish or Foden? Foden for me. Chiesa or Foden? Really good question. I probably would go for Foden. Which Chelsea defender, if only picking one? Azpilicueta for me. Why Benzema over Lukaku? Lukaku might not start. Thomas Tuchel was talking about this in the press conference. He has been playing too many games. Chiesa or Foden? Foden. No need to spam the question again. Ugh, can't even speak. Best 4.5 million goalkeepers. Rulli, Kobel, and maybe Adan. You could go for him as well, but I'd say the first 2 are the best. Salah and a mediocre Zenit midfielder for Pogba and Musiala. Definitely. I'd go for that. Goalkeeper for today? Yeah, I'd say Kobel probably. I mean, in terms of the actual cheaper ones. If you can afford someone more expensive, go for Ederson or Handanovic, for sure, to be honest. Kovacic or Idrissa Gana Gay? I'd go for Gay. Hala or Adeyemi? Would you start double up defence on City? I probably would. I'd be a bit concerned going forward because one of them might be benched and maybe it's not the best strategy long term, but I think it could be really good for this week. Salah or Benzema captain? Once again, I go for Benzema. Do you play Predictor? Yes, I do, and thank you for reminding me of that. I'll show you my predictions right now, just a few of them. I've gone for 2-1 Besiktas against Sporting. I'm not sure about that, to be honest, and I've gone for 2-0 for Manchester City against Club Brugge. Remember, Club Brugge have actually been pretty impressive, and they caused problems for PSG, and against Leipzig, I'm pretty sure they got the win. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. So I think I'm going to be sticking to that. I'm a bit surprised they don't have the kind of first goal scorer and stuff like that. I think they probably took that out. It is a lot of commitment though, playing Predictor and waiting up until the deadline, 1 hour to go, and then seeing the lineups and then picking, your first player and team to score. That's a bit too much in my opinion. But yeah, those are my predictions at the moment. I'm not sure about Besiktas, to be honest. So that's what I'm going with. So yeah, we've got 17 minutes left for the deadline. I'm looking at potential transfers to my team, and honestly, I am A bit concerned about double Man City defence going forward, but I might end up doing it. And I think double Chelsea defence makes sense, to be honest. Whether you're getting a goalkeeper or just 2 Chelsea defenders. I think I'm pretty nailed on with this team. I'm trying to think of alternatives. Obviously, I'd love to have Salah and Haaland, but you just can't have everyone you want, unfortunately. I think, hopefully, Atletico Madrid can keep Salah quiet. Atletico, after all, are one of the best teams in the world. So hopefully they do, do keep them quiet. So let's see. Let's get this team back up. Oh, this chat back up. Oh my God, why is it doing that? Captain Salah or Haaland? I'd go for Haaland, probably. Jorginho or Kante? Probably Jorginho. DeMarco or Nuno Mendes? Good question. Maybe DeMarco, but Nuno Mendes is not bad. Salah or Haaland? Haaland. Yeah, the same goes for anyone asking about Salah or Haaland captain. I'd go for Haaland. Wildcard must-haves. I think a City midfielder like Foden, Grealish or De Bruyne. Definitely a City defender like Laporte, Cancelo or Diaz. A Chelsea defender like Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Christensen, Reece James. Maybe in terms of goalkeepers, Handanovic, Mendy. You're looking at one of those options. If you want someone cheaper, Rulli, Kobel, also Destonoglu as your 4 million. Midfielders, I think Sane or Chiesa. You can also be looking at Lewandowski up front. I'd definitely go for him. Benzema, Depay, Fati, Adeyemi. There's still Dzeko, but I probably would be looking at the other ones more. And also, still Haaland, of course, is a really good choice. And in terms of the defenders as well, Upamecano or Sula, Alexandro, Thomas Meunier, Mazzauri. Those are the sorts of players I'd be looking at. And also Danjuma from Villarreal, aka Groenewold. And the reason why I keep having to clarify that is because he's named differently on the game. Will you keep Bellingham and Nkunku? Not Nkunku, but I will probably be keeping Bellingham. Sandro or Cancelo? I go for Cancelo. Thank you, Niraj. Pedro Porro or Militao Sula? I would go for Sula. Goalkeeper for 5 million. You could go for Bono, but honestly, I'd be looking at Rulli for 4.5. Chiesa and Adeyemi or Haaland and Alvarez? Already have Sane. Chiesa's Adeyemi is looking pretty promising, but I'd probably go for Haaland and Alvarez, assuming you have a really good squad overall. KDB or Foden? If you can afford it, go for KDB, but Foden might offer you better value for money. Adeyemi or Dzeko or Depay? Adeyemi for me. Alternative for Nkunku? Foden for sure. Best 5.1 million midfielder? Barrios, no doubt about it. Give me a cheap goalkeeper. Rulli in 4.5 million and Destonoglu at 4 million. ¿A quién elegirías de Cancelo y Alexandro? Cancelo. 9.5 million striker. I'd be looking at Depay, Adeyemi, or Fati. Azpilicueta or Meunier? Azpilicueta. City defenders other than Diaz and Cancelo? You could go for Walker or Laporte. Why don't you use Haaland? Because Benzema's just cheaper, and also I can't have everyone, unfortunately. Wildcard pick: Salah or Haaland? Maybe Salah because I'm more, there's more options to choose from up front, I guess. Kovacic or Barrios? I go for Barrios. 5.5 million defender. Upamecano or Sula. And there's also the Chelsea defenders, of course. Are you going to keep Sula? I probably will. Why do you think Sane will play? Because he's been instrumental for Bayern Munich, so I'd find it very strange if he was benched. Depay or Adeyemi, but Depay could outscore him, to be fair. I'm just looking at value for money there. Do you have a league for predictor? I don't have a league. Gnabry or Sane? Haaland or Salah captain? I'd go for Haaland. Salah or Benzema captain? Benzema. Bernardo Silva's a good choice, to be fair. Sane or Foden? I'd go for Sane, but I like Foden too. Salah or Benzema? Benzema captain. For any questions about Salah or Benzema or Haaland captain, I'd go for Haaland or Benzema captain. And if it's Haaland or Benzema, I just go for Benzema. Will Salah play? Yes, he will, for sure. It's a big game. Upamecano or Thomas Meunier? I would probably go for Upamecano, but I like Meunier a lot, to be fair. Mbappe or Haaland? Haaland for me. Yeah, Sane's been sick this season. He's been amazing this season. Alternatives for Nkunku, Foden, Bellingham. I'd be looking at, obviously, someone cheaper than Danjuma, and Rakitic is a good choice. So I'll be looking at those sorts of players. There's Grealish, there's Mason Mount, there's Havertz. So all of those are good choices. I would say Goretzka, but it looks like he's going to be injured for tomorrow's game. So that's what I'd probably say. Mount or Bellingham? I'd go for Bellingham. Best captain for today? I think Benzema probably. If not, Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne would be very tempting. Why are you not playing Haaland? Because I don't have him. Kovacic, Jorginho or Barrios? Barrios. Cancelo or Meunier if I have Laporte too? I'd still go for Cancelo right now, but Meunier might offer you better value. Why no Salah? Because he faces Atletico Madrid, and also in terms of money and budget, you can't have everyone. Foden or Mahrez? Foden. Is Haaland a good pick versus Ajax? Yeah, he is a good pick. I talked about this before, Jack. I answered your question earlier, and I think he is a good pick, regardless of the opposition. Will Salah play? Yes. Mbappe or Haaland? Haaland. Chiesa and Adeyemi or Haaland and Alvarez? I already have Sane. Yeah, Guru, I did answer you before as well, and I actually went with Haaland and Alvarez, but the other two are fine. Weren't you taking Salah and Sandro? That was a possibility, a transfer alternative, but I probably won't end up doing that, to be honest. Lucas Hernandez, it looks like he's going to start despite the controversy surrounding him. I would rather have Upamecano or Sula. Salah or Chiesa? I'd probably go for Salah if you can afford it, but Chiesa's a really good choice. Are you going to keep Sula? Yes. Yes, Dragomir. Ronaldo or Haaland? Haaland. Mbappe or Haaland? Haaland. 6 million defender except for Aspi and Cancelo. Rudiger. I think Rudiger, Upamecano, Sula, Alexandro. Haaland or Benzema? Good question. I'd go for Benzema. Sane or Gnabry? I'd go for Sane. Cancelo or Meunier in the starting 11? Just start both of them. There's no reason, just have people who play tomorrow on the 20th of October on your bench and play both of them. Good centre mid for 5.5 million, Barrios. Alternative for Jota and Torres, Bellingham, Nkunku, Grealish, Foden. Salah wildcard, he's a great choice, but I'm just not going for him myself, but still really good. Foden and Rakitic or De Bruyne and Alvarez. If you have a lot of depth already, go for De Bruyne and Alvarez, but otherwise, if you need that player, then just go for Foden and Rakitic. It's a better overall team. Foden or Grealish? Foden. What about Groeneveld and Nkunku for Alvarez, Chiesa? I think that's fine, to be honest. I would go for that. Benzema or Mbappe? I'd go for Benzema. Nkunku or Pedro? I'd probably go for Pedro. Mahrez or Benzema for captain? I'd go for Benzema. Laporte or Cancelo? I would rather go for Cancelo. Foden or Grealish? Foden. Yeah, just a kind of a little heads up, because I've noticed some questions I have actually answered, but people keep repeating them. I'm not going to be answering them again, unfortunately, because it does get in the way of other people's questions. And if I have already answered a question a few times, I probably won't be answering it again. So just bear that in mind. Forson Verratti, obviously, really good performance against Manchester City. He was the difference, I think. And he could be a decent UCL fantasy asset. But once again, I think there could be better choices elsewhere. Lukaku, Lewandowski, definitely Lewandowski. Szczesny for the next 2 weeks, or just keep Mendy at extra 0.5 million. If you can afford it, just go for Mendy, but Szczesny's good too. Is Cristiano a good option? I think so, but I don't really back Sheriff defensively too much. Chiesa or Mahrez? Chiesa for me. Best player to buy for 7 million, Danjuma, Bellingham if you can afford him. De Bruyne or Benzema for captain? You could just go for De Bruyne. Best defenders? Best defenders for me, Cancelo, Laporte, Diaz, Azpilicueta, Kimmich, Upamecano, Sula, Thomas Meunier, Mazzauri. These sorts of players. Obviously Chelsea defenders, Azpilicueta, yeah, Rudiger, Christensen, Reece James. I would rather go for the centre-backs though. Remember, ball recoveries are so crucial. So bear that in mind when you make your final decisions regarding your transfers and final defenders. Marquinhos or Cancelo? Cancelo, but Marquinhos is good too. Best forwards, Lewandowski, Benzema, Haaland. And if you want someone cheaper, Fati, Adeyemi. There's also Dzeko, Depay, Haller. So I'd be looking at those sorts of players. What about Herrera? Good option, but I'm just not going for him. Mendy or Kepa? I think it'll be Mendy, to be fair. What are you going to do with Roussillon? Probably going to get rid of him. Will Wan-Bissaka play? Yeah, he will. He's back from suspension, actually. So United appealed the other day. Thank you, Lipok, for managing the chat. Really appreciate it, mate. Salah or De Bruyne? De Bruyne for the next two, but Salah overall is a better option. This has motivated me to do my own thing. Big yourself up, answering the same damn questions for 30 minutes straight. Thank you very much, Dante. Obviously, I can understand some people. It might be difficult to tell when your question's being answered, but yeah, I just don't get the point of asking a question and then repeating it over and over again. Is Traore a good option? Yes, but I would rather have others like Danjuma. Is Gay a good option? Yes, he is. Foden or Salah? Probably Foden right now. Of course, Salah is the better option overall, but, if it helps you a lot with the rest of your team, just go for Foden. Mount for Foden, I'd rather have Foden. Sane, Chiesa and Foden in one team is a good option for sure, Ronan. Isn't Benzema on trial? I don't think so, mate. It's Lucas Hernandez, I think, that you're thinking about, unless I'm wrong. Which player is least likely to stay in your lineup? My goalkeepers, Nkunku, and I think that's it, to be fair. And maybe Roussillon. So not many changes, to be honest. Let's get the team back on. I'll be finalising the team very shortly. Let's see. So, yeah, I think everything is sorted. So I've got everyone on the 19th of October in your starting lineup. I encourage everyone to do the exact same thing. And also with the captaincy, captain someone who's playing today. And then if they blank or don't do too well, captain someone playing tomorrow, like Lewandowski, Sane, etc. So make sure to do that. I'm doing that right now. And yeah, everything is pretty much sorted. I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players playing today, and the rest, the other 7, are playing tomorrow. And then in match day 4, I'm pretty sure it reverses. So then I'll have 8 players playing on the second day and 7 on the first day. So that's a good balance. That's another thing to consider on a wild card, which I haven't really mentioned in my videos. There's so much obviously to kind of cover in UCL Fantasy as well. It is a bit of a different kind of format. Nkunku or Rakitic, I'd probably be tempted by Rakitic because of the fixtures, but Nkunku overall is better. Marquinhos or another Man City defender for 5.5. If you have Cancelo or Diaz already, then just go for Laporte as your second. Sorry, mate. So which Chelsea defenders? Azpilicueta and either Rudiger or Christensen. Reece James is also good, but I also look at ball recoveries, so I would go for 2 of those. No problem, Kaxa. I think I said it right. Hopefully I didn't F that up. Best 5 million midfielders, Barrios for sure. Dzeko, Cancelo, Depay, Walker. I would say Depay and Walker. Hold Mount and Alonso. It's a tricky one. If you're not playing your wild card, then you can just hold on to them. But otherwise, I would probably get rid of them on a wild card. Which Juve defender? Alexandro. But if De Ligt was fit, I'd definitely go for him. He might still be, but just not looking good at the moment. Wellington or Reece as a budget defender. Not too sure, to be honest. Apologies for that. I'll probably go for Reece. Should I change Ronaldo with Adeyemi and lose -4 points? No, mate. Just keep it. There's no need to do that. What's wrong with Roussillon? There's nothing wrong with him, but Wolfsburg have struggled recently. Bruno Fernandes or Jude Bellingham? On a limitless, I'd go for Bruno Fernandes. Otherwise, just go for Bellingham. I think he's better value. Yeah, come on, guys. Say your teams. Exactly, Jeremiah. Lukaku or Benzema limitless? I'd go for Benzema because there is a doubt of Lukaku not starting. Rudiger has injury. Well, I don't know if he's completely recovered from the injury. He is at training. He's back fit, but maybe he will be rested tomorrow and then plays against Norwich at the weekend. 3 minutes left. Yeah, really, really close. Haaland, Salah or Nkunku for captain? I'd go for Haaland. I'm on a wild card. Yeah, a lot of people are FPL Island, and if not, it's a good idea to save it for the knockout stages. Haaland and Alvarez or Benzema and Barrios? I'd just go for Benzema and Barrios, to be honest. They're both good choices. Benzema or Haaland captain? Benzema. Christensen is good for 5.2. I think so. Just bear in mind he's not going to play every single game, but when he does, he has the ball recovery points and he can get the clean sheets, of course. Thanks for the help. Good luck for this match day. Thank you, Jack. Really appreciate it. Haller or Benzema? Benzema, if you can afford it. Best 5 million defenders, definitely Laporte. If you can stretch to 5.1 million, I'm looking at Sula, Thomas Meunier, and these sorts of players. Barrios or Alvarez, if you can afford it, Barrios. Kobel or Musso? Kobel. Do I go for Ronaldo or Messi? I probably would rather go for Messi right now. Which team are you rooting for since Arsenal aren't obviously playing? That's a good question. Honestly, I'm neutral in UCL, but because there's so many Argentinians in PSG, I want them to win. I don't really like those sorts of clubs that, are kind of, you'd say, oil clubs, but I like the fact Paredes, Di Maria and Messi are there, so I'll probably be backing them. And yeah, I mean, Liverpool, Atletico Madrid, that's a good game. Because of the pool, Diego Simeone, I'll probably want Atletico Madrid to win that game against Liverpool. So yeah, and also just makes Liverpool fans, those friends I have anyway. I don't really mind Liverpool fans overall. Well, not the kind of, I'd say, obnoxious ones, but the rest I don't mind too much. But yeah, I want Atletico Madrid to win. So yeah, the team is going to be pretty much finalised now. I'll probably be bringing up my final team in a second. And yeah, everyone on my bench is playing on the 20th of October. And yeah, make sure you have everything set. We've got 1 minute left for the deadline. Hopefully you've got everything sorted. Thank you everyone who has joined in once again. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. And I'll be showing you my final team in a few seconds. And yeah, then we're pretty much good to go. Hopefully it's a good week. Hopefully it's a good end of the group stages. We're halfway there almost. And should be pretty good. And this wildcard could be significant. It could be a big difference between having a good rank and a pretty average one or a bad one. So let's wait and see what happens there. But I'm pretty happy with the team overall. And I wouldn't change too much, to be honest. Obviously, if I had unlimited money, then yeah, there are certain players I just wouldn't have, to be quite frank. So this is my final team, just to show you guys on screen. And I've made a few changes. So yeah, the midfield has largely remained the same, but Nkunku has made way for Alvarez, and that has given me enough money to get Mendy in goal and Destanoglu. And in the midfield, I've actually gotten, well, I've got Phil Foden, but I've also upgraded João Cancelo in the defence. So I've gone from Roussillon to Cancelo. Maybe long term, it's not the most smartest pick. I'll admit that, because let's say, for example, I want a way to get back to Salah from Phil Foden, then that would require a significant downgrade, potentially even a hit. But one thing I could do maybe is get rid of Sane and Cancelo and then just get Salah in immediately that way. And the same goes for Erling Haaland if I want to get him back in. So there we go. That's the team. It's done. It's dusted. And Karim Benzema is my captain for the first day. And obviously if I had De Bruyne, I would probably be tempted to go with him instead. But Phil Foden, João Cancelo, Laporte, they're all good options too. I've got Destanoglu as my backup goalkeeper. And there we go. We've got 4 players playing right now. Thank you everyone, obviously, once again for tuning in. I'll be going for any last questions and comments that you have. And once again, I don't want to keep banging the same drum. But if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. Really appreciate everyone who joined in. And obviously, like I said, smashing the subscribe button and the like button helps out the channel massively. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well. And I haven't even checked the sub count, but I'm assuming it went up quite significantly today. So really appreciate it, guys. And yeah, we've gone up to 6.65 subscribers. Really appreciate it. And yeah, good to see you all here. Let's get the team back on screen. And that is my final team. Let me know what you think. Maybe, it's not perfect, of course, but I do like the balance. Other than maybe Alvarez, who's kind of just bench fodder. The rest, I'd say, is very, very strong. But then again, no Salah, no Haaland. That could really bite me. Thank you, Rock and Roll. Good luck to you as well. Let's see the rest of you as well. Vinny and Danjuma or Foden Adeyemi. I'd probably go for Foden Adeyemi. 1 minute left. Yep, it's done now. I'm just kind of catching up on the chat. Do you like the Paul from Atletico as well? Yeah, I've liked him probably from 2 years ago, but he's improved so much since then. The Paul right now, I have to say, you could call me biased or whatever. I think he's one of the best midfielders in the world. He's so good. And for Argentina, I'd say he's probably the second best player behind Messi. Then maybe it's Emiliano Martinez, the goalkeeper. But De Paul is just on another level at the moment. He's so good. I never expected him to be. That's why I give the manager Scaloni so much credit, because no one ever kind of called for De Paul in the national team, but he did. And what a decision that has proven to be. Thank you, Kobe, for monitoring the chat. Really appreciate all of that. Same with everyone else who's been moderating the chat and helping me kind of get through everything. Thanks a lot, mate. Thank you, Kevin. I reckon Bruges will score. I hope not, but if they do, I'm in the mud, to be honest. Thank you, the Flying Dutchman. You two have a good one. Thank you, Chu. Thank you, Mark. Foden or Jude? I'd go for Foden. See you at the FPL deadline. Yeah, that's on the Friday. I'm probably going to be doing a reaction stream on the Thursday. I usually do it on a Saturday or Sunday, but I wasn't able to last weekend. Went Sandro over Cancelo, fair enough. I mean, both really good options, and maybe that's a bit more of a better balance. Team looks good, bro. Good luck. Thank you. Hopefully it does well. Can't be as bad as my Matchday 1 team, which was so awful. But at least Matchday 2, I used the Limitless, and it was pretty helpful. Forgot to use my wildcard and took a 32-point hit, but it didn't take away the points. But I think they might be calculated at the end of the game week like it is in FPL. That's the thing. So if you did take the hits, unfortunately, there's no way of escaping them. Unfortunately, the hits were taken and they will be subtracted from your score. Hopefully a great week for all of us. Yep, exactly. Glenn, good luck to you as well. Next time, can you reveal the team earlier? I missed it. I'm sorry, mate. It's just the reason why I did that is because I've noticed a lot of people have been just copying literally everything, all the 15 players, when I limitless, when I wildcard, just copying every single thing, the captains, even if there were just better options elsewhere. So that's why I decided to show the team at the very end. And even, it's just 3 or 4 changes from the actual team. I hope, people just don't copy mindlessly. I just think there's no real, I'd say, enjoyment in that. It's just better to make your own decisions, make your own mistakes and successes. But of course, you can't force people to do what, something, pretty much. Thanks for the stream, Dylan. Good luck with your team. Thank you, CFC Alex. Shame about your team, but good luck to you. And all the very best. I missed out on my transfers. Yeah, that's happened to me before, don't worry. Even last year, I think in FPO it happened one time. I woke up late, I'm like, oh damn, I didn't make the transfers. Good stream, Dylan, even though I didn't play UCL Fantasy. Wow, Lipok, yeah. Really appreciate you coming in, especially considering the fact you don't play this. So yeah, really good job with the mod, mate, and good luck. I think you're a Liverpool fan, aren't you? So yeah, good luck with your team, even though I might prefer Atletico Madrid to win. I got Mahrez captain. I know Benz is safe, but I want to catch up with my poor start. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you can afford to make that captaincy punt because tomorrow you've got Lewandowski just waiting there. Buena suerte, mate. Thank you very much, Marinho. Good luck to you as well, and buena suerte. Gracias por el consejo. Buena suerte, Dylan. Thank you, Kobe. Thank you for the attempt at Spanish as well. It's pretty good, especially if that wasn't used with Google Translate, you know what I mean? That's what I wanted KDB in my team so I can easily get Salah from him. Yeah, that's a good point. I think structures are so important, but it's a good thing, we've got 2 free transfers going into the future, and actually there have been price rises, haven't there? So that would be interesting. Let's see what has actually changed in terms of prices. They always do this. They update the prices. So who has changed? Haller has gone up even more. He's 8.9 million. Jesus Christ. Adeyemi's gone up to 7.3. Lewandowski's gone up. Sane, Jesus. Yeah, so many price rises. Salah's gone up. Oh, it's going to be even more difficult to get the geezer in, isn't it? Joao Cancelo, I'm guessing, hasn't gone. Oh, he has. Okay, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Laporte hasn't. Thomas Meunier has. Aspilicueta has. Groneveld has. Yeah, Adeyemi, as we said, has. Sula has gone up. Yes, Sula. That's good. Mendy, he's gone up to 6.1. Jesus. And that's very strange. A 4 million goalkeeper stays 4 million. There you go. And then Benzema, he's also gone up to 7.1. So not big price rises. Foden hasn't. That's a bit surprising. And yeah, a really big reason why I got Foden is because last season he was the top scoring midfielder in UCL Fantasy. So yeah, that's a bit interesting, isn't it? We'll see what happens there. We'll see. So yeah, there we go. There we go. There we have it. No goals have been scored so far, haven't they? I'm pretty sure I've got notifications on. I'll probably be watching some of the games later, especially that big Liverpool-Atletico Madrid game. I'll be getting the chat right up here, rounding up your questions and comments before wrapping up. Obviously, like I said, thank you very much to everyone who has tuned in. Really appreciate it. And let's get the chat back up. Great stream. Good luck, everyone. Thank you, Hussein. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Dylan, for your help, bud. Thank you, Wingel. Gracias por los consejos. Buena suerte. Thank you, Martin. Really appreciate it, mate. And I wonder where all of you come from, especially those who are speaking in Spanish. Was it good to go for a double buy in defence? I think so. I would rather double up on Chelsea and City, but Bayern are a good defence. If you go for Upamecano and Sula, for example, or even Joshua Kimmich, good options. Best of luck to you, Dylan. Thank you, Wingel. You too, mate. How do you have that knowledge speaking in Spanish? I was raised speaking Spanish. My family are from a Spanish-speaking country. You know what I mean? You miss Royce and Haaland. Haaland, yes. I'm not too sure about Royce, but yeah, I agree. Haaland might be a big miss. Time for revenge. You never walk alone. Good night. Yeah, good luck, Lipuk, and should be a good game. To be fair, though, I mean, even if you do win these games, it's not the same as a knockout stage game. But to be fair, did Atletico even win the competition? No, they didn't. Can you do a wildcard team in Matchday 4, please? To be fair, the fixtures are the same, but there could be a few changes, and it is something that I am considering. So, obviously, when there is a Champions League week, I will say that there's a lot of content to make for both UCL Fantasy and FPL. So, literally, there could be 7, 8, 9 videos in a week, which is crazy. And then if I make even more, then, just God forbid, speaking about that. But I will be aiming to do a Matchday 4 wildcard team. Especially if enough people request it. So I'll let you guys know about that. I have Torres and Jota in the squad now. I mean, Jota could start, to be fair, but Torres, yeah, he's out. Predicting Cancelo goal and assist. If he does, then I've just completed UCL Fantasy, haven't I? I'd be amazed with that. I think you've spent too much on the defence. Maybe you'll struggle to get Salah back. Yeah, potentially, but One idea I have in my mind is to just immediately downgrade Cancelo, for example, to a budget defender, and then getting, for example, Salah for Sane. So I'm not too bothered about that, to be fair. And Salah, you know, he could be rested in match days 5 or 6. Maybe it's not too realistic. But if Liverpool do qualify by then, that could already be a game missed. He does face Atletico away now and then at home. But of course, I'll have to admit, if Salah does really well today, then he's probably going to be making his way back into my team for match day 4, because you just can't afford to go without a player in that sort of form. So obviously I know the risks, but you can't have everyone, unfortunately. I would have Foden at Adiemi, but I now have Torres and Jota. Yeah, that's not ideal. Saludos desde Florida. Soy de El Salvador. Wow, greetings, mate. And El Salvador, a very nice country. I don't know too many people from there, but a few people who've watched these videos are actually from there, so really appreciate Marinho. All the best, Dylan. Thank you, Jeremiah. Gotta watch Messi when you can, pal. Exactly. But a better game is on. But then again, you know, Leipzig, PSG is a good game. I think Chiesa will haul. He was in my team at one point, and yeah, I think he could do really well, especially in the home game in match day 4. What is the price? The prize for winning this game? I'm in the top 19k. I'm not too sure, to be honest. Yeah, I think you win a PS5. I think that's one thing. Grande Dylan. Thank you, Ignacio. Not grande, but really appreciate it, mate. All the best, Dylan. Thank you, George. I wildcarded but only made 6 changes. Is that okay? I think it's okay, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, with a wildcard, I always say this, you want to make at least 7 or more, but 6 is fine, I guess, especially if you really improve your team significantly. Rock and Roll says, I also want to suggest having a way to keep repeated questions. Otherwise, I can keep the questions down. Yeah, I always encourage the mods to kind of, you know, I'd say put people on timeout, or, you know, kind of just moderate the chat, especially those people who just keep asking the same question that's already been answered. And even if, you know, I directly spoke to them. How many points does it take for you to not sub out a player? So if my Royce Alvarez get 5-6 points, do I sub in Aspi and Chiesa or not? It depends on the rest of your team as well. If you're in a situation like I was in Limitless on match day 2, where literally I have players with 5 points even, or 6 points, I was even considering subbing them out, then I will. But if I'm in a situation where I have quite a lot of blanks, I just get rid of the lowest scoring players. So that's just the way it goes. But basically, between 0 and 2, most likely you're going to be out of my starting 11. -4 for Tony and Laporte. I wouldn't be taking any hits, especially right now, because there's plenty of time up until match day 4, 2 weeks. So don't make any transfers yet. Thank you, Kush. Really appreciate it. I'm not, but thank you very much. Went safe and captain Salah. Yeah, and I went risky and didn't even have Salah. So RIP, Dylan RCM. Gracias por los consejos y saludos desde Panama. Wow. Says Jean Luis Gonzalez. Yeah, Panama. Once again, I have to be honest. I mean, in terms of people in London, I don't know too many from Panama, but you know, very nice country. Love to go one day, to be fair. And I remember in Copa America 2016, we did face each other, and yeah, that was really nice. Live from Zimbabwe, says Elliot. Yeah, greetings to Zimbabwe. I actually know some people from there, I believe. And yeah, obviously good to see everyone from here. Destonoglu save. Yes, come on. Great start. Come on, let's rack up the saves and let's get that clean sheet. Salah hat-trick incoming. Didn't captain him though. Yeah, I hope not, man. I hope Atletico can keep them busy. I hope the Paul can control that midfield and Suarez can shithouse a win for Atletico. You know, apologies for the swearing there, but that's what I want. I'm very surprised you don't have Salah and or Haaland, not going to lie. I did have them originally, but right now I don't. But it's just what I've decided to go for. It's a bit of a punt in a way. But if City keep a clean sheet, if Salah blanks and Haaland, you know, only scores a goal, I'd be pretty happy with that, to be fair. But, you know, just have to make this very clear. I'm not going to, you know, just go without Haaland and Salah for the rest of the UCL campaign. And even for the group stages, I might bring one of them, maybe both back at some point. But this is what I've ended up going with for now. And I just think having that City lineup very early has swayed me to going big at the back and also just really trusting City and going triple. But that could be a really bad decision in match days 4 or 5. So let's wait and see how that pans out. And let's see. Let's see the live team, by the way. Oh, fair enough. Oh, yeah. I was looking at the make transfer section. Yeah, that is my team right now. Everyone's on 1 point. Let's see if Destinoglu's save has been registered. I don't think it has yet. Oh, it has been, I think, yeah. Haaland hat-trick incoming, it could be, to be honest. I hope not, but yeah, Haaland and Salah are the ones that could easily, ruin my week. Even Lukaku, if he starts. Took out Salah for Chiesa. That's not really the worst decision in the world, to be honest. I just feel I really should have put Chelsea midfielder in. To be fair, though, Chelsea midfielders haven't been too good, and Chelsea are playing 3-5-2, but, they're playing 2 strikers, 2 wing-backs, and then they're playing, these just midfielders, but not the attacking midfielders we want. Foden almost scored. Oh, yeah, great. Viniendo de Inglaterra, pero sé un poco de español. Oh, fair enough. Okay, Kirby. Yeah, I didn't know you had that in you. Oh, that's really good, mate. That's good. Joshua LFC says Joshua Miller. So another Liverpool fan here. With Foden, Mahrez and Bernardo starting tonight, any implications for their weekend? I really want to bring in Foden, Mahrez, but man is scared. Yeah, I don't think Mahrez will start. If I'm being honest, I think it'll be Jesus, who should be fully fit and ready after the Brazil games. So he's had his little rest now. Foden could start, but I'm not too sure about. And Mahrez, I don't think he's going to start. Bernardo should start. He's so key at the moment. And to be honest, I don't know why City have been thinking about, either benching him or just selling him in general. Took out Lukaku for Benzema just because you said he won't start. Well, just to be clear, the thing with Lukaku, I said he'll either not start in Matchday 3 or in FPL Game Week 9 because Thomas Tuchel was talking about him needing a rest. People were already thinking about this. Chelsea fans were talking about Lukaku being benched potentially even from before this. So those comments don't fill me with confidence. What do you think about Szczesny? Good keeper, to be honest. Rodri offside goal. Wow, crazy. Rodri goal ruled offside. Yep, I'm still here. Yeah, Sporting goal, by the way. That's great. Yeah, Destonoglu clean sheet in the mud. There we go. Yeah, I'm not too surprised there, to be honest. Just a bit sad, I'd say. Sad because of the predictor. I did put 2-1 Besiktas. I don't know why. Sporting goal. Yes. Who scored it, by the way? Was it Goncalves or someone else? Let me know. To be honest, Chelsea and City defending are among the best in Europe right now. Yep, hopefully we haven't jinxed them there and they keep the clean sheets. And, we get around, let's say, 24 points for the clean sheets and stuff. So you reckon Bernardo and Grealish are the only nailed-on ones, or at least close to nailed-on? Yes. Well, De Bruyne as well. And Foden could be that. But the rest, I'm not sure. At the beginning of the season, it looked like Gundogan was also a nailed-on player. But right now, I'm not too sure. Oh, Coates. Oh, the Uruguayan. Coates. Wow, really? Coates, out of all people. But at least, not many people have him, so the rank doesn't get affected too much. And wow, still 100 people watching pretty much. Really appreciate it, guys. And like I said before, good luck with UCL Fantasy. I'm going to now be chilling, enjoying my Destonoglu clean sheet wipeout. And thank you so much. If you haven't already, like I said, smash the like button and subscribe. Really appreciate it. And I'll be going through these last few questions before wrapping up. Yeah, it was Coates. Hopefully, Rice gets his clean sheet. I brought him in last minute for Nuno Mensch. Yeah, not a great start so far, but hopefully the City players can get the returns. Like your enthusiasm for FPL and UCL. Keep up the great content. Thank you, Aram. Obviously, hope to see you in future live streams. There should be 1 or 2 more in FPL this week. I just dropped a like for the stream, brother. Thank you, Can. Really appreciate it, mate. And good to see you here with all the questions and comments. Take care. Thank you so much, you too. And some of everyone here. 100 people watching. Like I said, obviously, really appreciate it. The games have started. Let's enjoy the football now. And just all the very best of luck. And I'll see you next time.